This is Joe Castello's WFO Radio Ignition, covering everything that has wheels, an engine, and a driver.
The reason I race is to get the chicks. You know what I mean?
NASCAR, IndyCar, Formula One, sports cars, and NHRA drag racing.
Hey, guys, just want to let you know, WFO rocks.
WFO Radio is total motorsports.
It's just so cool.
Fasten your seatbelts, fire up the ignition, and drop the hammer.
Yeah, let's do it.
Now, here's your host, Joe Castello.
WFO, what's up, everybody? Back in the studio, WFO Radio Ignition, Joe Castello, your podcast host. And for the next however long, we are going to gather and enjoy each other's company and talk about various subjects, NASCAR, Formula One, IndyCar, motorsports, NHRA drag racing. In particular, my great times out there on the Western Swing in Denver and Utah and Seattle and Sonoma. And, well, I haven't been to Seattle yet. But it will all be discussed on this show. If you are new to WFO Radio Podcast, I encourage you to stick around for a little while. Go bounce around the archive after this show is over. Check out the award-winning NHRA Nitro podcast. Hear Greg Anderson talk about his underwear. Listen as Billy Torrance reveals the secrets of success in business and in life. Listen to Alan Reinhart discuss gravity and how it pulled him off the stage. Hear Andrew Hines talk about a weekend of dominance and success. Listen to Bo Butner talk about his new WFO Radio t-shirt and how he is undefeated while wearing it. All of these things are on the NHRA Nitro show that you will listen to after you hear this. Ignition, which is nothing like that. It is just fun and unstructured chaos. And Giovanni in Miami is part of the unstructured chaos. Is that a tagline? Did I just invent something? WFO Radio, unstructured chaos. As opposed to the structured chaos, which is normal. No, listen, here's the thing, Giovanni. Do you have anything you got to say real quick? Because I'm going to dive into something. You've annoyed me right at the beginning of the show. Like I'm pissed off and fired up immediately. I have all this different stuff. First of all, you know, Denny Hamlin winning the race and the Glen this week, and Jimmy Johnson's crew chief's already blown out. Somebody won some sort of a pool.
Obviously, 20 weeks in.
Trucks at Eldora, Tony Stewart fighting people. We got it all, baby. We're going to talk about Max Verstappen driving a Ferrari, Haas F1 report, all of these things. Formula One headed to Hungary this week. SportsCollision, everybody's favorite sports show within a show. We're going to get into the passing of Miami Dolphin legend Nick Buoniconti.
That's right.
And the trade deadline.
Hall of Famer.
Perfect season. No-name defense. But all of that, the trade deadline, the Astros getting great, and the Yankees doing nothing.
The project to cure paralysis.
All of these things are all taking a backseat to what I wanted to open the phones.
I ruined it for you.
You kind of have ruined it. You've ruined it all.
WFO audience.
You've ruined it all by bringing up this. Really, like we come in, we have this nice meeting, we were having a talk about how we can make WFO radio better and all of these different things and how we can grow the audience, how the audience is not as aggressively telling their friends as they once did. But all of that is going to the back seat right now for this. Giovanni informs me that some kid, and this is from CNET, a 16-year-old just won $3 million playing in the Fortnite World Cup. More than 2 million people watched the best in the world compete for big money. And this is July 30th, 11:28 a.m. Pacific time, not that long ago. Oscar Gonzalez, CNET.
No, it was over the weekend that this tournament occurred, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
And so why on earth does a Fortnite tournament take precedent over all of this other stuff? Honestly, because of the discussion points that just started to happen as we were warming up to do the show, and we had to just fire up the show and get everybody in on it, and here it is. It's happening now. You're all in on it now. Everybody is in on it. Bobby's Bug Barn is in on it, and Brian Spink is in on it, and Gary Corbett is in on it, and all the WFO radio listeners are in on this. Ready? There was a $30 million prize pool, and it took place July 26th to 28th. And immediately we have to dig into this because Giovanni started dropping a couple of stats that just caused me to become a little sick, and I threw up a little bit in my mouth. And what are we all doing here? Trying to make a living doing this nonsense. Podcast, radio, racing. Okay, so the first stat that Giovanni dropped out on me, and I'm going to ask you to support these as best as you can, is that this kid, and I'm going to read you the story a little bit, but he won more money by winning this, excuse me, I'm sorry for saying this, stupid Fortnite tournament than Tiger Woods won for winning the Masters. Is that true? Because that is the source of my irritation right now. No disrespect to the kid. I'm sure it took a lot of time and effort to become the world's greatest at Fortnite. But all of a sudden, nothing makes sense. The next number that Giovanni just spit at me, and I took it in and became irritated. Now you're kind of receiving it right now. I'm not intending to be angry at the audience. I want to be angry with the audience. Was that the $30 million prize pool was larger than the Women's World Cup.
The same, I believe, the same.
So, which we just talked about a couple weeks ago.
When we were discussing the equal pay
Equal pay. So wait, what? That whole Women's World Cup thing that the entire universe paid attention to, and everybody was talking about cheering and buying the shirts and this and that and the other thing, Fortnite already has eclipsed its prize pool. And one kid got more money than Tiger Woods got for winning the Masters.
Here you go. Tiger Woods, for winning his 15th major, won $2.07 million this year at the Masters.
So right now, the world is off its axis. We're rotating backwards on our axis, and we're about to collide into the moon. What is the point of anything that we care about? What is the point of anything we do?
I mean, no, honestly, how can I tell my kid to get his face out of that goddamn iPad?
Right.
When a 16-year-old just won more money for playing video games than Tiger Woods did for winning the Masters.
And it's Ready Player One. It's happening. It's over. Civilization is over. All you old people who are grizzled and old and at the end of your rope and you lived the golden era of America, good for you, because you're checking out at just the right time. Things are getting weird. Now, I love video games. I've always loved video games. Video games are fantastic to me. I think they're fantastic. They're great. Fortnite, I haven't played. I've played some first-person shooters. I just watched some of the video of the kid, and that's fine. But the idea that you can win $3 million so rapidly, like it didn't have to grow at all. It's just the scale. It's just scale, I guess. We got to get into it, and here is the story. And, of course, we'll get into all of our racing stuff. But really, isn't it all just totally irrelevant now? Isn't it really? Like over the weekend, I'm seeing, Ferrari draft so-and-so driver in the esports deal. And I really don't know exactly what it is. And I know I should, but I don't. We're going to dive into that. Like, what was that, Gio? This esports racing thing. So we've said it with Gary Corbett, who plays a lot of iRacing and does all this stuff. The majority of the audience, they watch racing on television. The majority. I don't know what the numbers were on Fox for the NHRA this week, but I'm going to make up a number. I'm just going to make it up. I'm going to say 750,000, okay? 750,000 people watched drag racing on TV this past weekend. There were about, I would say, 25,000 in attendance, which is a fraction of the 750,000. So what if there was no racing going on, but the 750,000 people were still watching something? Some sort of computer graphically generated racing with some sort of somebody controlling these little cars behind it, setting some values, setting some settings. The red car went fast. The blue car went up in smoke. The red car won. And would people watch it?
EV3.
Well, exactly. Is that where we're going? Because then we're all just dead in the water, people. We're all just dead. Stop watching anything because you're just watching people play video games. And I know what that is. The answer is it's on Twitch. And the answer is yes. There are millions of people that just love to watch people play video games. I'm one of them. I have PlayStation 3. I know that's antiquated and old. So does Giovanni. It's fun to bounce around. I still like the graphics. It's great. When I first got some cool games, Assassin's Creed, I can't play these games. Up, down, back, triangle, back, square, slash, up, down, circle. I can't do that. And more importantly, I am not going to invest my time to learning how to do that. I can do anything. I can learn how to do anything if I invest the time to do it. Do I want to go back to third grade math and then learn all the way up through calculus? I have no doubt. If I focus my energy and my time, even at 46 years old, with enough repetition and proper education, I can do it, whatever it is. Whatever it is, I'm smart enough. So if it takes me a little while, I can invest the time. I can watch on YouTube, Assassin's Creed, up, back, third board. You're fighting the big monster guy. You throw the spear. Right. Do I want to do that? No. I got to make a living in other ways, real ways, ways that earn money. So what do I have? I have Picari do it. Play Picari. And he plays and he goes and you're fighting. It's like, go Picari. And it was fun and entertaining. And now this is real. And it's out there in the world. And Fortnite Kid just won $3 million. Here's a story by Oscar. Battle Royale game Fortnite has become a phenomenon. The free video game from developer Epic Games has generated billions of dollars and become an obsession for gamers of all ages. That surge in popularity has brought Fortnite tournaments for eager esports gamers to watch and compete in. The biggest of all is the Fortnite World Cup, and the one who took it all on Sunday was Kyle Bugga Giersdorf. Bugga. Like bugging out. Bugga. B-U-G-H-A.
No, man, that's like Clint Boyer's crew chief.
Bugga Ravitz. Right?
Yeah.
Unlike Jimmy Johnson's crew chief, who is also known as. I just want to see what you come up with. I was going to say fired.
Yeah, that was the old crew chief.
Right.
I don't even know who the new crew chief is.
Cliff Daniels is the new crew chief.
Daniels.
And I don't want to be harsh, everybody. I'm in such a great mood. I want everybody to know I'm in a great mood. And I was coming into the show, and now that we've latched on to this, and you should all be very interested in this. And we'll get to all our other stuff, Fantasy League, like our fantasy sports.
There you go.
Right? You see Vlad trying to recruit you into a fantasy football deal?
He did.
You and the missus? I'm not doing that. I'm not devoting any time to anything anymore, ever. No more time being devoted to anything.
You need to get on this Fortnite train, man. That's what you need to do.
Back, up, circle, backslash. I remember when that first stuff started coming. I played Atari 2600. There was a joystick and a button. The paddles, right. You had this little wheel and the button. You could play Warlords. Right? I played...
and then ColecoVision came out with that fancy... And there was another one that was... what was that?
ColecoVision had
the fancy ball and the long rectangular remote that was more like a phone or something.
I don't know that one. I don't even know what you're saying. That's it. We're going into the history of video games. On the show, the Fortnite World Cup Finals with a $30 million prize pool took place July 26th to 28th in New York City at Arthur Ashe Stadium. What's the attendance of Arthur Ashe Stadium? What's this capacity?
Probably like 25,000.
Who won the Fortnite tournament? Sunday was the last day of the event, and it was all about the solo tournament. Players from across the globe who qualified in smaller tournaments
23,771.
And it was 16-year-old Kyle Bugga Giersdorf who won $3 million first prize and the title for Best Fortnite Player in the World. Yes, Best Fortnite Player in the World, $3 million. Masters Champion, Tiger Woods, $2.8 million.
Yeah, Bruce Koepka, $2 million.
Daytona 500 winner. Right, Daytona 500 winner. What do you get, like 1 point something? Why are we not
to
all
be fair,
for
Tiger plays more than one tournament a year. I don't know if this is going to be a year.
Right, this is the only tournament you're saying.
Right.
I mean, maybe. I don't know.
Don't get me wrong. I could schlep off $3 million a year,
Rest of my life, dude. Rest of my life. One Fortnite tournament. I mean, I'm going to start doing this. Giersdorf started the day strong, winning the first of 6 games. In the next 5 games, he continued to place high and accumulate more eliminations, giving him the point lead. He kept the top spot throughout the day and had a commanding lead in the last game, where it seemed almost impossible for him to lose. Right. And everyone's confused about the countdown and points and stage points and all that. We are too confused by that stuff cars getting to a line ahead of another car. Can you get your car to this line ahead of another car 150 miles away? No, too confusing for us. But this, Fortnite, somebody understood that. Giersdorf was a guest on The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon on Monday to talk about his daily routine of spending a half hour warming up before practicing and strategizing for the day. He also explains the origins of his name Bugga, which was what his grandfather would say to him as a baby to make him laugh.
Little Bugga.
Bugga. Twitch tracking site Githup estimated 1.3 million people watched the Sunday finals via the video game streaming site. Do you understand this?
So more people watched, essentially, than watched. I couldn't find the NHRA ratings.
And IndyCar
put
probably
together.
Combined, and these people were on a stream.
Well, look, I can tell you that NBC got a .47 rating for the IndyCar, 670,000 viewers. And it was up 21%.
And what was NHRA? Do you have that?
No, I'm searching it, and I haven't been able to find it. Yeah. Pocono did not have such a good race.
On YouTube, there were 500,000 tuning in for the event. There were also viewers on Microsoft's streaming service Mixer, and players were able to watch the finals while playing Fortnite thanks to a new service from Epic.
Oh, it was 671,000.
What?
For NHRA eliminations on Fox.
And what was IndyCar?
670.
So it was 1,000 different?
IndyCar ranked last in viewership just behind the competing NHRA eliminations on Fox, which had 671,000 viewers.
So we beat them.
Yes, you did.
Woo! By 1,000 people.
No, yeah. By 1,000, yeah. It doesn't matter. I mean, it got a better number.
A win is a win. That's right. Drag racing is more popular than IndyCar.
NASCAR got a 1.7, which was 2.7 million, and it went down, and it was considered, a negative.
A fail.
Yeah, but IndyCar was up, and NHRA was up. They're both up.
Over the same race last year?
Correct.
How much?
IndyCar was up, I just said it, 21% in ratings, 4% in viewership.
What about NHRA? How much was up?
It doesn't have it. It just says
that.
It was up year over year. It doesn't actually break that one down. F1 doing very well. The race this week averaged 688,000 viewers on ESPN. It peaked at 839,000 between 10:30 and 11 a.m.
Well, I was watching.
Right.
It was a good time for us to watch, too, getting ready. And now that they've got this new policy of wetting all the racetracks from now on, they're just going to wet the tracks. I think it's going to become a very popular sport.
It's going to be a minimum of 5 pit stops per race.
But my point is this. Why bother doing any of it? I don't want to sound pessimistic, but why bother doing any of that what is the point of it? Well, it's entertainment. Okay, it's entertainment. And what are we going to do? We're going to sell sponsorship. Yeah, we're going to sell sponsorship. Why? To who? To people that watch. People like to watch that stuff? Yeah, they like to watch cars go fast. Oh, how many people like to watch cars like that? Well, you got IndyCar was 670, and you got an NHRA that was 671. Keep the tally. And you had Formula One, which was 688, and you had NASCAR, which was 2.1. Okay? So all of those motorsports, with all combined, everybody that watched the motorsport, which, there was overlap. There was overlap of those people. But all of those people combined, we're talking about 4 million people. 1.3 million are on a stream watching a kid play a video game, and none of it exists. None of it exists. It's all digital. Nothing exists. It's Ready Player One. Have you not seen Ready Player One? You guys all need to watch Ready Player One. It's a nice movie. It's Steven Spielberg. It's like, people have told me it's like the modern era E.T.
You haven't watched it?
I've watched it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no,
but no, it's a roadmap.
It's a very good throwback 80s kind of feel. The music is good, and it was fun. I liked it.
But it's a roadmap for exactly what is going to happen in the future.
Yeah, no, it really is.
It is exactly what is going to happen. People give up their real lives in favor of their internet virtual reality gaming lives because they can be whatever they want to be. Like, I can be me with a flat stomach and a six-pack, and I can, pull up my shirt. And it will be six-pack abs.
It's your avatar.
It's my avatar. It's whatever I want to be. And why would you stay in your old, grizzled, broke-down, fat, gross body? And I'm not talking about anybody in particular. When you can just put on these suit and enter the internet world
I don't like where you're going with this.
and become whatever you want. And that's what's happening. And that's what's happening to everything. That's happening to the whole world. So back to this, right? Saturday was the duos tournament, and the European team of Emil Nithrox, Bergquist,
and
Peterson,
those two D-bags, they shared $3 million, too.
and David Aqua W took the championship, winning a separate $3 million. There's $6 million is being paid out to these people.
Well,
What are the World Series of Poker? All those idiots getting together and then playing. How much did they?
The winner got $10 million, the second place got $6 million, and the third place got $4 million, I believe.
Okay, right. For a bunch of people playing card games. Yeah. Right, but my point is still my point.
But by the way, those people all have to...
Speaking of which, you should be listening to the Poker Action Line show to keep up with all of that.
But all those people invest a lot of money to get into the board.
Well, I'm sure that these people probably had to pay an entry fee as well.
Oh, all right. I hadn't considered that. But yes, like poker tournaments, there's an entry fee. You pay $5,000, $25,000, whatever it is, and that's how the prize money gets distributed.
Sure, and I am sure these people had to pay an entry fee as well. Just like
by the way, I read that that's on no sponsorship. That money that was all just generated from the revenue that they,
a big money bracket race. That's the model of the big money bracket race. The entry fee is about $2,000, and then $500 for a buyback. So you're going to go take your shot at winning. Let's call it $250,000 to $300,000.
Well, didn't this kid win $500,000 Gage or?
Yeah, well, he won $500,000 on the books, but with all the splitting, because once they get down to 16 cars, everyone splits to raise their payout.
Oh, okay. So, all right. I didn't, kind of like in poker sometimes,
Absolutely. It's exactly the same.
We'll split them thing. You get a little more money. I get the trophy kind of thing.
Right. Well, the winner gets a little more money in the trophy, but the loser gets more than they offered, to make it more worth everybody's while.
I get it.
To make it hurt
okay. But either way, like in theory, he won $500,000.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. And it's the same as World Series of Poker, big money bracket racing, except, you have to spend all this money
on your car.
But also you get the amazing thrill of going fast. You're doing something. Like, it's not like we shouldn't do it, because we should do it because it's fun and exciting and thrilling and fast and fun. And the person who is driving the stripe to the finish line to win $560,000 is doing way more than this kid on Fortnite pushing a button, looking at a screen. Getting $3 million.
All right.
The players who won 2 of the 6 games, giving them the most point among 50 teams competing. What is Fortnite World Cup? Epic announced the 2019 Fortnite World Cup in June 2018. Plans were to have weekly tournaments starting in late 2018 with the finals in 2019. In March, the developer changed its plans with qualifiers for the Fortnite World Cup starting in April. Players earned points in either single or duos weekly tournaments to qualify for the finals. Duos, Gio, me and you.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. I get $2 million, you get $1 million.
We will split it down the middle.
What do you mean, no?
We are going to become that amazing team, man. The team that you see in the movies, the duo, the guys. We'll have the thing. We'll be like Daft Punk.
Like
we'll be
Bonnie
wearing
and Clyde.
helmets. Those with the highest points total were invited to the event and play for the first prize of $3 million, as well as the crown of best Fortnite player in the world. What is the Fortnite format? In both duos and solo events, players' teams compete in 6 matches. They earn points after each match based on how they placed and how many eliminations they accumulated. The player or team with the most points after the 6 matches is crowned the winner. Duos split a prize of $3 million, while the solo winners keep the $3 million all to themselves. Who competed? Epic says there were more than, are you ready for this? 40 million players who participated in the qualifying events for the Fortnite World Cup across 6 regions: NA East, NA West, Europe, Brazil, Asia, Oceania, Austria, and New Zealand.
I'm going to assume NA East and West is North America.
Yes. I said Austria, but I meant
Australia. You meant the continent.
But they typed Australia.
Typos.
Australia. Which maybe that's an international way of saying it. I don't know. For those qualifiers, the field is now down to 50 duos and 100 solo players. Some of the players competing are Turner, TF, Tenny, Noah, Vivid, Wright.
I'm sure they all got some fancy handle names.
Bizzle,
yes.
Busy Bee, right? K Solo was like, one notable player who didn't make the cut was Tyler Ninja Blevins, who failed to qualify for the World Cup.
Loser.
Epic fail. Why can't there be sports radio for this stuff? I got to think Tyler Ninja Blevins is an embarrassment to his family. And, he's not bringing it 110 anymore. I think he's lost his step when it comes to his Fortnite play. I'm sure there is. Honestly, that's what Carlos Hawkins stuff was doing.
I did.
That's what that show was. That was it.
With a female companion.
Yeah, Tyler Blevins. He just didn't bring it on his AB / circle square combination move. The Fortnite YouTube channel has several profiles of players competing at the finals. There's also the Road to the World Cup Finals Part 1 and Part 2, showcasing both well-known and lesser-known players competing this weekend, like America's Got Talent. They've got a show. They've got this whole thing going on, and we're trying to get attention as drag racers. We have a few thousand people listen to our podcast.
And about 700,000 watching on TV.
Epic not only set aside $30 million for the players competing, but it also gave those watching the World Cup some free cosmetics, of course. Fortnite players who link their YouTube accounts to the Epic account could receive YouTube drops.
I don't know if it was this article or a different one I read. I read that each player, I think there was like 100 guys in the tournament. Everybody that competed got at least $50,000.
What?
Well, that's what happens when you have $30 million to divide it up amongst 100 people.
$50,000, right? Which when you win Top Fuel at the end of an NHRA national event, you get $40,000.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Show up with 12 dudes, tractor trailer, 4 engines under the bench.
But there isn't
$60,000 each.
There wasn't a gazillion people watching throughout the world and on Twitch.
It's insanity. It's insanity. I get it. I still love what we're doing.
I gotta tell you, man, this makes me want to give up everything, man.
Right.
I mean, everything.
Right.
Really.
Why bother doing anything? Why bother doing anything? WFO radio listeners, why bother? Email me, joe@wforadio.com. Subject line, why bother?
I mean, I have other thoughts, like, being a parent myself. Does this kid get to keep that $16 million? Do they just give it to him? Like, he gets to hang $3 million over my head? And now he tells me, go screw off, Dad. You can't tell me what to do anymore.
Well,
I'm the breadwinner in this family.
Well, he would be.
Well, obviously, but
let's explore that for a second.
Or does it go into some sort of trust that he can't touch till he's 18?
I'm sure his parents are probably, he was 16, right?
He's 16.
Yeah, so I'm sure his parents are involved with this deal. You can...
No, obviously, but I mean, how do you treat this? I mean, I know that there's child actors and stuff like that. But,
that's exactly. Well, no, he's an athlete. This is prize money. He's going to owe Uncle Sam. He's going to have to pay capital gains, man. That's a big prize.
It's not a capital gains. That's revenue. It's work. It's work.
That's work when you get a big prize money?
If he's a professional, like the professional
is he a
poker.
Professional? How do you know if he's a professional or not?
Well, the poker players, like professionals, they it's a business.
Has he created his entity?
Oh, that's what we don't know, but he should have.
Hey, gamers, plan on winning some big money playing games like Fortnite? Don't forget to set up your LLC so you can tell Uncle Sam, call Legal Larry.
Yes.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, it is. It is.
Viewers had to watch the event for at least 20 minutes to receive the World Cup spray and red line wrap. Players could also receive a World Cup-style outfit. No, I think that's something on YouTube. Outfit the fish stick skin if they log on to Fortnite between July 25th and 28th.
Fish sticks?
Do you like fish sticks?
What are you, a gay fish?
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, my goodness. Where has this show gone?
Well, this is what happens, okay?
By the way,
come in with a plan.
This is funny.
It's almost over, though. It's almost over.
The show or the story?
Both. The story. We're on the home stretch. Now that we've said, I want you to open the phones is what I wanted you to do. Send a push. I sent one earlier when I said Western Swingers. Open the phones. I just want to sell T-shirts to people. That's all I want to do at nitrofish.com. Apparently, everybody got their T-shirts today. Brian Spink, and I could see Al Marola, Steve the Trucker, and everybody has got their stuff, and you could tell I'm super fired up. Heading to Seattle tomorrow to just toil.
The Western Swing.
What is Fortnite, right? Like, it's the last. They gave us all this information, and at the very end, they bury the lead. What is Fortnite? Now, I know what Fortnite is. I've heard about it. I know that it's a game. But this is kind of a revelation to me. I'm sorry.
Well, I know it's that game that everybody does. Has been doing that stupid dance.
Right. The floss.
It looks like the Carlton to me, but
the swivel. No, you're not supposed to do that. That's like another thing. Like talk about things. I'm just sad because like things to make you feel old, right? They even invented a dance that old people cannot do. Your brain doesn't work.
Whoa,
if you're a certain age,
I couldn't do that dance if I was 16.
No, if you were 10, you could definitely do it.
I don't know.
Yes.
I don't think that the reason I can't do that dance has got to do with my physical abilities. I think it's got to do with the fact that I have 2 left feet and can't dance to begin with.
You don't even move with that. It's just about moving your arms around. It's some weird thing with your arms.
I've seen it. It's the one in the commercial. Antonio Brown was in the commercial doing it's the stupid dance, dude.
It's like a right brain, left brain thing.
Some of the little leaguers do that crap.
They all just do
I yelled at them. I'm like, who do you guys think you are?
Stop doing that weird sorcery thing.
Yeah.
It's like when you make a weird face.
You're not good enough to do that dance and celebrate like that.
It's just from their game. What is Fortnite? Fortnite is a battle royal game, which means a larger number of players start a match, and the last one who survives wins. Each game has 100 players landing on an island with only pickaxes equipped. They'll have to find new weapons, grenades, and other items in order to survive and eliminate other players. What makes Fortnite unique is the building aspect of the game. Players can scavenge materials such as wood, metal, and brick to create walls, ramps, and floors to quickly build their own forts, hence the name Fortnite. These structures help protect players from bullets and can provide vantage points against opponents. The best Fortnite players are not just good with a gun. They can also build quickly to defend themselves. Build. What do you do to build? Do you press a button? What do you do? And there it is. There were all kinds of updates. Increíble. There you go. We're all doomed, folks. It's over. American civilization, not because video games are bad, but because why would you teach your kid to become a golfer or a baseball player when you could just sit him down on the couch and tell him to keep doing exactly what he's doing and he could win $3 million at Fortnite? And let's reevaluate that.
Not to be fair, I mean, how many people actually win, this much money but we do know that story of the gamer, the guy who made a couple $100,000 a year playing the video games, and the girlfriend, and she gave him the ultimatum. I don't know if you know that. We
don't know
discussed
it.
That.
No.
It wasn't too long ago. I believe it was last year. There's one of these professional gamers, and I guess his girlfriend wanted him to quit, and but this is how he made a living. The guy was making
and she
a couple
showed up in
$100,000.
Lingerie, and she had little thigh-high stockings and sat down on his lap, and he ignored her, so he could push the buttons on his controller.
But basically, she felt that he was, doing too much or whatever, and she kind of told him either the game or me, and he's like, hey, sorry, this is my job, and smoking hot girl,
right? Of course,
but nonetheless, so you can make a living and a pretty decent living because this guy was making 6 figures. Enough to dump some pretty hot chick. So
no, we're doing it wrong here. This is it. This is the epiphany.
And this
happening.
We're doing it wrong. This is the moral conundrum.
We're doing it wrong.
Here I am yelling at my child to get his face out of the damn pad or the tablet or whatever the video games are. When I should be just let him sit there and turn into a big fat slob.
No, you should be sending him to Fortnite Battle Class.
Right.
What you should be doing. Like, Gray, it's time for Fortnite Battle Class. First of all, the second you did that, he would become against it.
Right.
There's your strategy right there. We're going to send you to a Fortnite teacher. What? I don't want to play Fortnite. You're going to play Fortnite.
Take off my shoes.
Yes. Unbelievable. Well, anyway, there you go, folks. Welcome to
Here
WFO.
we go. Each of the 100 competitors was guaranteed $50,000.
$50K. Yeah, $50K.
And the top 4 took home 7-figure sums. Wow.
That's just dumb. That's all I can do. What do they say? We mock what we do not understand? Yes.
Yeah.
I am mocking Fortnite. It's a silly fad that nobody will be playing in 2 years from now. And watch, like some Fortnite, they're going to buy our neighborhood.
That's it.
Ugh. Well.
This place is no longer going to be called Joe's Neighborhood. It's going to be called Fortnite Express.
Well, listen, the Ready Player One. You got to watch it. You guys got to watch it. Low, you and the family. I bet you guys have watched it already because it's like a kid's movie. It's modern, it battles, it's fun, it's interesting. It's really good, really well done. Great vision. I really believe that's what's going on. And then you think about other games, like people like to see people participate in games, right? Like the Hunger Games. You remember that one? Did you see the Hunger Games? You never saw the Hunger Games, dude? After all this time, really? On this show, we talked about Hunger Games, and we even downloaded it for you so you could watch it. J-Law, your girlfriend, she's in it. That's the movie that made her. I'm surprised you did not watch it. It's really good.
I know, that's what I hear.
But people love watching other people playing games. But, like, we're not really going to have a Hunger Games where people kill each other. So this is the closest
The Running Man.
The Running Man. There's another game show themed movie.
Richard Dawson, come on down. Oh no,
Loved Richard Dawson. Richard Dawson was definitely way better than what's his name?
Steve Harvey.
Steve Harvey.
Steve Harvey's all right, but he's no Richard Dawson.
No, Richard Dawson was the man when it came to Family Feud. He was smooth with the ladies.
Oh yeah, he got to make out with all the ladies.
It probably would not be deemed appropriate in our modern world.
Oh, come on. Get
what
out
Richard
of here
Dawson
with your
was doing. He was like lean in for like a long, wet kiss.
But those ladies were all receptive
with
to his
another
kiss.
man's
They weren't
wife.
squirming away.
They did not seem to be squirming away, I guess. But regardless, it's time for me to tell you about the great people who
bring you this show.
Support this show.
Well, WFO in general.
Although we'll probably lose their sponsorship to some video game contest that is going to be happening. How do we get in on that? How do we lead the video game contest? Like, I'm going to have an Atari 2600 tournament at my house,
in
baby.
Television.
Yes.
That was the other one.
We're going to get
ColecoVision and Intellivision. And they both had the long rectangular remote with like a keypad on it. Like a phone. It looked like the phone keypad.
Yes. I don't.
Now you remember with a little ball on the top.
No, I don't remember that.
I
don't remember.
There you go.
I don't know any of that. I know we had one, Odyssey, is what Dad got. The first video game system we ever got was called Odyssey. And it had like these screens that you would put over the TV. Our Magnavox, giant console television with beautiful sliding wood doors. No, we had Magnavox. And it had a shooting game, a rifle range game, and it was the first game we ever had, and we had it in, like, I felt like, 1977, 78.
So we're not talking about Homer here, right?
It was called Odyssey.
All right.
Well, you should look it up. We're doing history of the video games all of a sudden.
I think Odyssey, I think of, the poem by Homer.
But first I want to tell you about samtech.edu, Frank Hawley's drag racing school, RodaxCoffeeandGrills.com.
I see it.
Magic Dry US and HusseyPerformance.net. All people who have stepped up to support WFO Radio. They are our great sponsors.
Odyssey was made by Magnavox, not your TV. Or did you have a Magnavox TV?
I had a Magnavox TV. I did not have anything. I was a small
Magnavox
child.
Odyssey is the name of the game console.
What does it say about it?
It's the first commercial home video. Yes, it sure does. First commercial home video game console developed. Alcorn? Hold on, let me click on the actual thing. On the story. Developed by a small team led by Ralph H. Baer at Sanders Associates, released by Magnavox in the U.S. in September of 1972.
Wow.
Holy cow, it's older than us.
Papa Joe, man, he was
and
cutting edge.
Overseas the following year. I mean, it goes on, but basically, yeah, it was discontinued in 1975. They sold 350,000 units.
Wow.
It cost $99 at the time, which is the equivalent of about $600 today.
Wow. Thanks, Dad. So I could have a fun game. And we did. But actually, I
think he bought that for him, not for you.
I kind of think that is also true. Because my real gaming experience happened with the Atari 2600, which I still have.
But I don't know. You know what I still have? I still have that original Nintendo.
You have an original Nintendo?
Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't that old.
Like the one that you had to blow into the cartridges to make them work? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, that was ColecoVision. Coleco.
No, but Nintendo also, the one that you
Atari 2600, you had to blow. If it had cartridges,
I guess all of them
you had to blow into the cartridge. I don't know if it worked or not, but we all felt like it did.
Of course it felt like it worked. What do you mean?
Exactly.
Oh, boy.
Sad. But anyway, Samtech, School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. If you haven't listened to the Factory Stock podcast by now, you really need to catch up. U.S. Nationals coming up, all kinds of big things, all kinds of controversy in the sport. People are telling me they absolutely love it. If you're a WFO radio listener and you have yet to hear that, you need to. Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School and the Dragster Adventure, but also you can get your license. Like, all right, you've gone on the Dragster Adventure now. Why not get your Super Comp license? Yes, it's going to be a little more expensive, but then you can go Super Comp Racing. Oh, that one was awesome. Combat. The free game you got with the 2600, which at first I thought was junky. But then when I got older, I realized that it was actually pretty cool. And there was a little thing where you're playing your 3 little planes or 1 big plane. And the 3 little planes could always destroy the 1 big plane. And I don't know, I would always trick my friends, hey, you should be the big plane. And they would lose. Simple as that.
What a guy.
Magic Dry U.S., the Northwest Nationals. Magic Dry U.S., Scott Palmer and his team, hoping he can be on the track walk with me this weekend. We had a great weekend this past weekend. J.R. Todd was on the track walk, and, Alan Reinhart, everybody saw Alan Reinhart, fell off the stage. It was horrific.
I saw that.
Did you see him fall off the stage?
Did.
You saw the tweet afterwards.
It wasn't terrible. He fell back. It wasn't like he fell.
I know, he didn't. He barely fell off the stage.
I got to tell you, I don't even think he hit the ground. It looked at me like he fell back. And
put his feet down and stood up.
Yeah. By the way, he's so tall that
That's why I wasn't going over the top making fun of him, because I could really fall off the stage and be dead. If I fall off the stage, I'm dead.
Well, I heard he fell on his arse and got a concussion.
EV3 Drag Racing, Hanks Defers Metalworking Lubricants, and, of course, Drag Racing Edge Magazine. Big supporters of WFO Radio. Do you know what game that is?
Do it again?
I doubt you know.
Qbert.
I know, but that's a good guess that you would guess Qbert. That's pretty crazy. You would do that.
Sure.
That's Qbert.
Okay, so what was the other one?
That one, supposedly it's Dig Dug.
Oh, all right.
I don't know. I like this one, though. Come on.
Pitfall?
Come on. How do you not know that one? Let's keep going. That's Donkey Kong, man.
Really?
Donkey Kong. What about this one?
Oh, look, Bobby Graham got his shirt.
Is that the same as this one?
It sounds the same. Yes, absolutely the same.
Except
sound.
I have them both as different things. I got Burger Time and Dig Dug. But back in the day, they said, remember we did that show a long time ago about the video games, and they used a lot of the same sound effects in all of them, but nobody ever used this one. Duck Hunt. Duck Hunt was not a cool game. Galaga.
Someone shot the food.
Someone shot the food. Gauntlet. Remember that one? The first game that you just put quarter after quarter after quarter. And instead of playing one quarter, you had to put in like $20 just to stay alive because you felt like connected to this guy. I've already spent $17 on this guy. What's the difference spending 20? And there you go. I graduated to Joust.
I like that one. That one was good.
How can we use this in the show on a regular basis? Your suggestions, Joe at WFORadio.com. We'll see. We'll just leave it right. Well, I want to test drive all the sound effects. Okay, that is the sound effect for the Atari version of Pac-Man, which was terrible. I remember we were on a waiting list at Sears Roebuck to get Pac-Man. We showed up there like 7 o'clock at night. We waited in a line, me and my parents, at the Sears Roebuck where Adam Walsh was taken from. And we got the cartridge, and I looked at it, and it didn't look like the one in the game in the arcade, man. And it didn't play like it either. It was in slow motion, man. That's real Pac-Man. The other one wasn't. There were some cool games from Activision, though. Pitfall. That was a great one. That came out. The Activision games were always better than regular Atari games.
Sure.
And they're in still business, of course. And then there was games that I did not play very much. Super Challenge Baseball. And that's pretty much it. We could use that too, man. We got a whole bunch of just Giovanni is going to get in here and he's going to dive in this and he's going to figure out some way to use all of this in like a big way. It's going to be great. Which one do we like the best? That one. All right, can we get to our Prime Directive now? Talking racing. All seems a little pointless after all this. Denny Hamlin picks up the win. Eric Jones and Martin Truex Jr. rounding out the top three. Denny Hamlin, big victory, 34th career victory. I haven't spent a whole lot of time other than the highlights. Giovanni, do you want to clue me in on what went down with Mr. Denny Hamlin and his great success?
Well, he got his third win of the year. Denny Hamlin has quietly positioned himself and is making a good run. This could be the year for Hamlin to get up there and win that elusive championship.
It is very elusive. No, Denny's a good driver. He deserves it.
He definitely is.
What's he got now? 34 career wins?
34.
That's pretty impressive.
I think that, that's very impressive. That's going up the echelon of NASCAR all-time greats.
Did you open the phones?
I did. There's a little bit of a delay now.
A delay.
But
well, we don't even know if the ringer is working. But I tested it. No, I tested it.
But you should leave it.
I tested it.
Open, hopefully.
It's open.
But
it's up. That's where these sound effects are coming.
In any event, there was a caution there towards the end. It was pretty interesting because there was like 2 or 3 different pit stop strategies going on. And so it seemed like if different guys, but basically it was Harvick, Kyle Busch, and Hamlin and the 20 really had like the strongest cars.
Yes.
And there was a late caution with, 40 or some odd laps to go. And everybody decided that that was gonna be the last pit stop, and that they were gonna go green, run them out of gas. They got a couple late cautions at the end that made everybody make it because I generally don't like the theory of that the guy that wins is the guy that goes the fastest slow.
Yes,
but that's what was going on. But Hamlin had saved a little gas early, and he was running third, and he just went out there and passed the 20 and the 19, took the lead, and then just kind of coasted home from there. And then obviously there was 2 late restarts, one with like 7 laps to go, and then another green-white checker at the end because I think it was Stenhouse decided that he was going to plow right through Kurt Busch and ruin my fantasy team.
Oi.
Which, how much worse can it get ruined? I'm like 50th.
Yeah, you're terrible. We'll get into that momentarily.
But nonetheless, I thought it was, it was better than some of the races at Pocono historically have been because of the, it's like a giant super speedway over there. And so it could get, a little boring. I didn't find it to be boring. There was a lot of passing and, another fairly entertaining race. It wasn't not as great as short track racing where they're beating and banging and everybody, but there was a lot of upset people at the end of the race, fighting for positions and entertaining enough. How about that?
Wonderful.
Yeah,
Do we have any audio from Denny Hamlin after his great victory? Let's
Hamlin.
hear from Denny Hamlin after his great victory.
The 19 made the move to try to get around a lap car in turn 3, and I saw an opportunity to dive on the outside there, and I was able to put my right side tires in it. And once I did, it had the grip, and I was able to get beside him, and that was key to then have the power position on the outside entering turn 1. And then with the 20, he was saving fuel, and I could see he was saving fuel pretty early on entries. So I wanted to kind of time a run off of turn 3 with him to where when he kind of checked up into turn 1, I just dove to the outside and got up in the PJ1 and passed him on the outside there in turn 1. So it definitely was a factor. We never would have had an outside lane or even close to an outside lane had it not been on the racetrack. So I think most of the passes today probably were done on the outside. So it still can be refined and be better. I've been working with NASCAR on the track really hard on this particular racetrack, getting it in the right place. And I think that when we come back next year for the doubleheader, we're going to make it even better. So I'm happy that this track is opening up to changes. And certainly we had a better race than what we would have had without it.
Well, that's exciting. And I love hearing that. And I've got it on my DVR, and I'm ready to dive in and check it out as soon as is possible. That is great. And here are the remainder of the results for those of you that are following along. Instead, I know many of our audience are probably playing Fortnite as we speak. Martin Truex Jr. was third, William Lord Byron fourth, Kyle Larson fifth, Kevin Harvick sixth, Daniel Hemrick seventh, Brad Keselowski eighth, Kyle Busch ninth, and Ryan Blaney rounding out the top 10. This for people who actually want to be doing what they are doing.
Well, I think the guys playing video games want to be doing what they're doing.
Right, but
too.
they're not feeling the G-forces and experience like the speed. They're not risking their lives.
Why should they now? Everything's VR.
That's what I'm telling you. It's crazy. I'm having an epiphany today. Like this story, now we knew it was all coming, but $3 million, man. Money talks.
BS walks.
Yeah. And everything else is BS. What's the next game? The game that every one of us is going to get in, which is what Ready Player One was all about. A game that everybody played and everybody could get in. And they were all, trying to do different things to improve their little pathetic lives. And their quality of life was like driven way down because nobody focused on their real life. They only focused on their virtual life. And so inside the virtual world, they are amazing. And outside the virtual world, they live in a little hovel. But they don't care because inside the virtual world, they're, God.
They live in the trailer parks.
It was not even a trailer park. Everybody's got to watch that movie. It was really good. Ryan Blaney, 10th. Clint Boyer, 11th. Eric Almirola, 12th. Joey Logano, 13th. Ryan Newman, 14th. Ryan Newman, who believes the moon landing was not real.
That's right. What a guy. Who's been banned from the show.
Who has been banned. It's not on the board. Put it on the board.
I'm going to put it on the
Ryan
board. That'll
Newman
make it official.
banned from WFO Radio. Why aren't we tweeting about that? How Ryan Newman has been banned from WFO Radio. Ryan, what do you think about having been banned from WFO Radio? What's WFO Radio? You've been banned. It's the podcast you've been banned from. Why have I been banned? Because you don't believe in the moon landing.
You might as well be a flat earther.
Yes. Flat earther. Jimmy Johnson, 15th. Chris Buescher, 16th. Matt DiBenedetto, 17th. Matty D. If nothing else, we have Matt DiBenedetto to believe in.
We do.
Paul Menard, 18th. 19th, Austin Dillon. 20th, Bowman the Showman. 21st on back, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Bubba Wallace, Matt Tiff. Is Bubba going to get the tattoo or what? I was having a conversation.
I believe he did.
He got it?
Well, I don't know if he did, but he agreed to get it. I'm not going
Yeah.
to go out on a limb and say he already got it.
I was having a conversation with Jake Sundstrom from NHRA National Dragster about it. We were talking
And he
about
doesn't
it.
think he's going to get
First of all, we all united to get that thing over the top. Like everybody said, what? You're going to do what? It was like 43,000 retweets. And I thought that was out of perspective. And we got it. We just pushed it. Well, it's not 24 hours. Oh, yeah? Click, 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 click. And now what you going to do? You going to get Richard Petty tattooed on your arm? Would you get Richard Petty tattooed on your arm? The King's actual signature? I don't know.
I would not. No,
you know what, man?
I have the King's autograph. I don't need it tattooed.
Here's
on
the thing
my
about
arm.
Bubba Wallace, though. Like, maybe he and his parents don't believe in tattoos. Like, I'm not a real tattoo guy. I don't like them. I don't have any of them. They're on you. That's fine. Girls are getting them all over their bodies now, and it can be interesting. Let's just say that. So I'm not against it as I once was. If you are employed by Richard Petty, the King, comes up and signs your arm. You do something silly like, oh, I'm going to get it tattooed. And everybody says, yeah, and you have to do it. And I would do it if I was silly enough to offer that deal up. There's worse things to have tattooed on your body than Richard Petty's signature.
Well, if I worked for the King and, and I opened up my big mouth and, then I would have to do it. But I have not, tattooed my body up in 45 years with anything. So at this point, I don't think I'm going to start now.
Well, what if Fortnite was going to pay you $3 million to do it? Would you do it?
I'd tattoo the Mona Lisa on my forehead for $3 million.
For $3 million, you would tattoo the Mona Lisa on your forehead?
Absolutely.
I think me too, probably.
Yeah.
$3 million's a lot of money.
Who am I trying to impress? I'm already married. I got a kid. What,
Would you
at
still
this point,
be? Yeah, I think you would. With $3 million, you'd be pretty good.
Look at it this way. Worst case scenario, I only get half. But then I'll be all alone and with $1.5 million.
Gio, $3 million isn't as much as it used to be. You can't really do as much as you used to be.
You're
able
right.
to do
It
with
does
$3
suck,
million.
but I'll try to spend it, all right?
Exactly.
Well, I'll deal with my 1.5. How about that?
Bubba Wallace, 22nd. Matt Tiff, 23rd. Daniel Suarez, Michael McDowell, Corey LaJoie. There's that push notification.
Yeah, finally.
Finally. It takes 20 minutes. You're right. Kurt Busch, Landon Castle, Ty Dillon, Ross Chastain, Quinn Hoff, Reed Sorensen, B.J. McLeod, Austin Theriault, Josh Bilicki, David Reagan, Ryan Preece, and Chase Elliott. Dead last, Chase Elliott. Not this weekend, though. He'll be good. Chase Elliott. And there you have it. guys who actually do real things to earn real money out there in racing. And look at that. See, here it comes with a flood of phone calls pouring in. WFO Radio, you're on the air. Who is this?
Joe, it's Steve the Trucker. What's going on?
Steve the
Of
Trucker.
course Steve's going to call in.
Oh, I don't know. I got to see what the Fantasy League is.
Well, I don't know where it is. I know where it was.
All right, so we just sent out this push notification for the phones to be open. We haven't done that in a long time. I'm anticipating a flood of calls, but probably not.
Flurry of calls.
A flurry of calls. What do you got there, Steve?
Well, I thought I was going to get a busy signal because it has been a really long time since the phone lines were open.
Yeah, watch nobody else
am I
call, by
first?
the way. You're first, man. You're the first. Though. Well, we just got the push like 1 second ago. So I got to say, you have really good reaction time as well.
I mean, I don't know if it's 001, but...
Did you enter?
Get right on it.
Okay, so let's talk important stuff. Like I'm trying to bring up the Fantasy League results.
I thought I had it there.
Yeah,
for you
I
on
guess
one
you
of those
do.
pages.
I think I closed it out, but I'll bring it back. Steve the Trucker, you got a real legit shot at winning the Fantasy League World Championship. You finished second in the points this week behind Tom Inc., and you
maintain your lead.
You've extended your lead to 69 points. I could see her Almirola's on the trophy this year if you were able to maintain this level of competition. Do you think you're up to it?
I hope so. I've been super lucky. The Gibbs drivers, because they seem to be the ones that are doing the best.
Yes.
But I would like to say now that if I do happen to pull it out, I would like to put Steve the Trucker on the trophy and not I can see her Almirola.
Wait a minute.
You could petition at the end of the season if you win, maybe.
Yeah, we have to petition that because, I only changed my name as a joke and, because we switched leagues and all of that stuff. And I was like, yeah, this will be funny. The guys will get a kick out of that. And now that I have a chance of winning after all these years, I think that maybe I might want to leave it as Steve the Trucker.
Yeah, well, that's very funny. And yet, what you're doing right now is tempting the racing gods. By
You're
even
exactly
discussing what's going to happen after you win. And so let's put this on ice, and we'll take it up after you win. I wouldn't want you to be cursed by the racing gods. You know what I mean?
You don't want to talk about the no-hitter in the sixth inning.
Let's not talk about the no-hitter in the sixth inning.
That's exactly right. And that's why I almost didn't call, because I was like, yeah, they're going to want to talk about fantasy, and then I'm going to mention the name change thing, and it is a tempting fate there. It's definitely a.
Now, to be fair, you've been up there near the top all year long. This isn't your first week in first place. I believe it's second or third week in a row now that you've maintained the lead, and you have been battling in the top 10 all year long. You're having, I guess, a record year for
career
yourself.
year. This is the greatest year ever for Steve.
Are you
the
a
Trucker.
free agent at the end of the year? Is that what's going on? Is this your walk year?
Well, no, I don't think so. But yeah, and here's what I'm going to attribute all of my success to. It's the end of the pick show.
Oh, really?
I used to listen to you guys. I would listen to you guys and say, "Oh, they're taking Harvick this week," and or whatever. And so now that the pick show is over and I have to do it on my own, I'm doing much better.
You see something positive have come out of the end of the pick show. That's great. The pick show is not totally dead, by the way. We're still working on some sort of method to bring it back. But very interesting. All right, so let me
It's in a coma right now, but it's still on life support. We haven't cut off the machine yet.
Beep, beep. So here's the weekly results. Tom Inc. won the week, 384. I can see your Almirolas. That's you, Steve the Trucker, 357. Hockey Kid with 350.
Hockey Kid, another monster
Millerman
week.
2, Brian, 343. Stubo, Supergas Crew Chief, 341. JG24LKB, 340. Bug Barn is still in the mix, 339. Willie B Racing, 338. Jambalaya J Racing, 334. And Dirt Girl, 334. Tied. Most points, Tom Inc., 384. Biggest gain, Willie B Racing, up 6. That's it. See? What do I do here? We got someone else I'm going to ignore.
Can you put them both on?
No. You got to
Are you
call
sure?
out. Yeah, I'm ignoring. Which is terrible, right? I should be able to add everybody and just
Or
add
at least
and add.
put
and add.
Steve on hold till that person.
How do I put Steve on hold?
I don't know.
No, we don't do that. It
All
doesn't.
right.
It's not possible anymore. Right? No,
I don't
Skype
know.
is just ruined. They've ruined Skype. Wait, maybe. Let's see. Yeah, you can't.
There's no pause, talk, pause.
Oh, man, it's terrible. I'm searching all around. Please stand by. Continue to give the fantasy league results there, Giovanni. All right, I got it. Here's the most important stuff. The weekly winner, like the guy who's leading the deal. Leading the whole thing.
Not the weekly winner, the overall leader.
The overall winner. I can see around Marolas. That's Steve the Trucker. Up 69 over Jambalaya J Racing. Bulls Wool is third. I saw Bulls Wool in Denver, and just as we were about to start a wonderful conversation, we were interrupted by some of the some people out there. And he went off and did his own thing, and I didn't get to, thank him for his participation. Bug Barn fourth. Rich and Saugus fifth. Patrick the Webmaster sixth. Seventh, Smothered and Covered. That's 202 points back, the top seven. So you've gapped the field a little bit, Steve the Trucker. Royal Flush Racing.
Well,
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I hope to stay that way. And I'm confused. Tom Inc. Racing, that's my best friend. I got him in the league. We've been friends since fifth grade in grade school.
Yeah.
And he beat me by like 30 points this week, and I can't.
WFO.
WFO Radio. This is Deep and Hawk.
Deep and Hawk. I just hung up on Steve the Trucker.
Like
you did.
Yeah, I hung up on Steve the Trucker, and he's probably going to call back in a minute. And now we've totally lost control of the show because Skype doesn't let me do what we want to do. How are you doing?
It's pointless. You can't control WFO.
I know.
It rules you.
It does. It does, and that's what I.
Hey, I like your new. I like your new shirt. That's kind of cool. It's cool that it's being sold at some of the finest haberdasheries on an NHRA racetrack.
Well, I thank you for saying that. We're very excited about it. Apparently, everyone is getting theirs in the mail today if they ordered on nitrofish.com when they initially heard.
Excellent. Well, anyways, I saw it on NHRA.TV, and it was awesome.
Well, it's amazing that Bo Butner wore the thing and went out and won the race. He actually ended up on Fox Broadcast Network with the deal on the Beyond Nitro segment with Louis Bloom. They were interviewing him about, running real well in Supergas, and he's wearing the shirt.
Most excellent.
Yeah, it's really great stuff.
That's how it all starts. It's kind of a steamroll thing.
Well, hopefully everybody in the WFO universe goes out and gets one. Hopefully everybody rocks them and wears them and tells their friends and likes it. It's kind of wide F and open is obscured, but we wanted it to have some attitude, and that's what came out. And after 50,000 revisions, I didn't want to send him another.
Well, I think it's a great shirt. I still like my vintage WFO shirt, and I have a very hard time keeping it clean.
Oh, good. That means you're doing
it's
things.
It's pointless.
You're doing. It is pointless. It's all pointless. How do you like Florida now that you live in Florida?
Oh, I'm glad. I am so glad to be back.
Yeah, Florida's much better than Georgia.
So, well, I like both places. The party is wherever I am, so it's all WFO, and it's good. I just wish it was all over with. It's just such a hassle to move that much material and that much stuff. So
I can imagine. But you're close to Garlitz now. That's what matters.
Well, I was 5 miles from his place before, and now I'm about 11 miles from his place. So I'm a little bit further away, but still a great place to go. 2 great museums there. I'll have to go take some of your stickers up there and smash them around and see what we can do.
Oh, my God, we'll get in so much trouble. Garlitz will freak out. But, hey, it's worth a shot.
Hey, sounds good. Anyways, I just wanted to call. I saw it was all pointless to call. I just wanted to wish you the best. And I like the way your career is turning out. Keep working at it so you don't screw it up, and do a good job.
Thank you for saying that, and we're going to continue to work on a phone system that allows us to put calls on hold so that we don't have to limit people's call time. That's our goal for 2022.
Sounds good. So just want to say, hey, good job. Say hi to Gio. Do a good job. And get back on Facebook Live or something. I kind of miss being able to.
Well, we're working on it. We're working on it. After the Western Swing. And Gio's right here, and he says hello.
Hello, Deep and Hawk.
Hey, you got it, man. Doing good job. I like the silent board guys in the back that get a little bit of credit every once in a while.
That's Gio. That's it. That's him. He led the show last week. It was great stuff. All right, Deep and Hawk, thank you.
It was awesome. Sounds good. We'll see you later. WFO rocks.
I love that guy. I love Deep and Hawk. He's a wonderful person. And now what do I do about Steve the Trucker? I just blew him right out. That's not nice, right? But I have a remedy. I can fix a wrong. That's what I like to do. I like to go back and fix a wrong.
Hey, I'm back.
Yeah, we lost you. Something happened. I don't know, like your phone crapped out.
Yeah, I don't know. It said I was connected the whole time. I kept saying, "Am I gone? Am I here? Am I there?"
No, I picked up the call that was coming in because I figured I could knock that thing out, and here we are. What did you experience? Were you in purgatory?
Yeah, exactly. I thought it disconnected, and I hung out for a minute because on the phone it said it was still connected and the time was still clicking away, but there was just silence.
So he must have somehow been on some hold there that we couldn't get to.
Well, right. Like I couldn't get back. Like it wouldn't tell me, like, hey, call on hold. And if you had just hung tough, like I wonder, can I merge calls? Like I just found a little button that says, like, I can call somebody and add them to this call.
Oh.
But I have to be the one to do it. That's not cool. I want to merge calls. And then I could tell the person, hang on the line, and then they would just sit there silently until you're done, and then we'll go to them. And we could have group speak. It's kind of like group think, but better.
Then you'd have me and Race Guitar on the phone at the same time.
Oh, my God. Wouldn't that be great? All right, let's talk about, wow, look at that. Let's talk about the new WFO Radio T-shirts.
Yes, mine came in the mail today.
And
I love it. The design is awesome. I mean, it's just it's a nice heavyweight T-shirt. I'm looking forward to wearing it.
That's exciting. Now, listen, a lot went into that deal, and big thanks to Randy Lynn and Bo at Nitrofish because they really made it extremely easy. In the past, I had a big box of the shirts here, and whenever someone would order one, I'd have to go and do a whole thing and go to the post office, and it was just a big pain. And now they're available at the Nitrofish trailer, at the races, and they are available easily online for WFO Radio listeners. We have posted the address on social media. Gio, you're going to do a post on the website, right?
Yeah.
Get the new WFO Radio T-shirt very soon. And so hopefully the WFO listeners realize that strong demand is going to be very important for this shirt, and then maybe we can get more shirts, like different shirts. Now, the design on the back, it was less self-promotion, gratuitous, just the logo, and we tried to make it a little fun with the thought that someone who has never heard WFO in their life, nor do they care about it, might actually get it because they think the back is cool. What do you think?
It is cool. I agree, and it reminds me of similar to the old Rat Fink logo with the rat in the hot rod with the big engine and the fire coming out of the pipes and the all of that. So it's reminiscent of that, but it's still unique, for your brand. And the Podfather of drag racing, I love it. I didn't see that on there before on the little picture that you couldn't read that. So, that's pretty cool.
You like the Podfather of drag racing. The Podfather of drag racing moniker has been bestowed upon me since WFO Radio has been going for 10 years, far longer than any other podcast in drag racing. And now there is a T-shirt that says it also, so it must be true.
It must be true.
Yes. The Podfather.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, and like I said, it's a heavyweight shirt. My only gripe is, it's black, and I usually save my black shirts for colder weather because I can't imagine wearing it on a 90-degree day with the sun out and just pounding on you with a black T-shirt on.
You got to take it. You got to take it and look cool, man. It's like you expect the ladies to wear high heels when they go out. They don't like it. They do it because it's cool and you appreciate it. Same with the WFO Radio T-shirt. You got to just tough it out for fashion's sake.
I will definitely be sporting it at least once at the U.S. Nationals.
Woohoo!
I have to break my string this year though. I got bumped out of the vacation for that, so I can only come on my 2 actual days off, and maybe Monday. So I'll be there Friday and Saturday. I didn't buy the package like I always do. Somebody took my week. Somebody with a little more seniority than me at work decided they wanted to be off that weekend. So,
well, you got to do what you got to do.
No camper out there this year. Yeah, exactly.
Well, whatever. You got to just take the good with the bad, and you got to try to, make the most of it. You get to go to Indy. That's good. Saturday, Sunday, hopefully Monday. And that's it. You won't be walking around out there the whole time. That's okay. You've got to do it the past couple of years, right?
Yeah, yep. It's always a good time.
Yeah, it is. I'm looking forward to it as well. I was just working on a couple of things for Indy. It's right around the corner, really. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's not that far. A month away? Yeah.
Pretty much a month away. Labor Day.
Yep, it's almost August 1st. Yeah.
Summer's over, folks. Winter is coming. Here comes the deep freeze. Ah.
Oh, it's horrible. I just heard our weather guy today said that the average temperature from this point on for the rest of the year goes down. Not up.
Bummer.
So we have peaked our heat season at least for average in Indy. So.
Well,
unfortunate. It's been a hot one, though.
Yeah, I'm sure it has.
Not for us, buddy.
Well, it'll stay hot for a while, but hopefully it'll cool down in September, October. October, it kind of turns down a little, and then November and December and January and February are beautiful, and we'll get to it. So, what else? Let's talk a little racing here. In that, we were talking about Denny Hamlin picking up the win. And how none of it matters because kids playing video games are making way more money than they ever could possibly make in NASCAR. It's really what the conversation has been.
Yeah, well, I saw that the other day that some kid made, $3 million to win some Fortnite tournament or something like that.
That's exactly what we're talking about. And I've been you'll hear it on the show. I've been very kind of animatedly sad and perturbed and messed up about it. Honestly, what's the point then? What's the point of doing anything? That's more than Tiger Woods made for winning the Masters.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And yet
it is crazy.
It is real.
Yep.
Nuts.
So all right, guys, I'm rolling. So I'm going to jump off of here, let somebody else call in, and looking forward to meeting up with you when you come to Indy, and I'm going to try to maintain my dominant. No, I shouldn't say that. I won't say that. I'm going to try to
maintain your lead.
I'm going to try to. Yeah, that's right. Try to maintain the lead. We'll see how it goes. Like I said, it's going to start to get a little bit tougher when the allocations start to get a little thinner because you start running out of Gibbs drivers, and they've been the only ones winning for the most part. So. We'll see what happens.
Exactly. All right, Steve, be good. I can see around Marola's. We'll do that deal if you win the whole thing. We'll check it out and take it under advisement.
All right, maybe we'll have to poll the audience. What they say.
Right, exactly. I know what they're going to say. I know the answer already. They're going to say no. Come on now.
Yeah, we got to have something almost dirty on the trophy. Almost
dirty, right? I kind of like the idea if I can see around Marola's. That's your team. That's the only reason you won, because you have a funny name.
Yeah, well, it's like Greg Anderson's underwear, right?
So true. So true. Now, the thing is, Mrs. Anderson did not wear the magic underwear this particular race. And it was funny because I had the conversation with her about it. And the first time I got to see both of them in their underwear side by side, like they kind of showed their underwear. And so then the next week, and I was like, hey, I don't mean to get all personal, but, you got yours on too? And she did not. And so it really has nothing to do with her. It's all about Greg and his magic underwear.
So now all of a sudden you're creepy Joe announcer guy.
Well, you know what?
He wanted to see my underwear.
It was volunteered, actually. I would never do that. It was volunteered the first time. I was just following up on a story, man. I was just following up on a story.
Right. I mean, the second week now, I might get to see her underwear again.
I said flat, listen, you're the one who let me behind the scenes on this one. You got them on?
Yeah,
and the answer was apparently they were stolen or taken. Yeah, there's a whole sub-story, exactly.
Oh, my goodness.
If we want to get to 20 million people on Twitch, these are the stories we should be covering in the National Hot Rod Association.
Holy cow.
Yep.
All right, guys. Gio, good to hear from you. Joe, you guys be careful. Have safe travels this weekend, and look forward to show next week.
Thank you very much, Steve. Appreciate it.
All right.
WFO, Steve.
WFO, yeah. Giovanni, not very heavily involved with the callers. You leave it all to me. That's fine. That's fine there, Giovanni.
Callers want to talk to you, man.
Yeah, let's, no, they don't. They all want to talk to you as well. Bullswell third, Bug Barn. I gave all those. Let's now on the fives. On the fives, let's go. 15th, Hockey Kid. Wait, Southern Racer X, who was part of the Stubo team. 10th, in the mix. 240 out, falling 4 positions, but still with a chance. Mr. Fantasy NASCAR, we always give him his information. Down 1, 12th, 287 back. Now on the fives. Hockey Kid, 15th, just behind Stubo. Tied with Car 24 Fan, 332 back. 20th, Low Blinker Fluid, behind Sacramento Racing Fan and Willie B. Racing. 25th, Millerman 2 Brian, just behind Los Jingones and ahead of Uper 1. They are both behind Dirty Hippies, who is 22nd. 30th, Tennessee Moneyman. What's up, Moneyman? You still out there, bro? I haven't spoken to Moneyman in a little while. Man, we got to catch up in a minute. For it was a while, me and Moneyman were in the same cities at the same time, just could not connect. He is just behind Spider Monkey Racing, that is Gary Corbett, and ahead of Keen Racing and Little Low. 35th, Highline Real Fine, just ahead of WFO Joe. With all that nonsense that happened last week, guess how many positions I moved up?
1.
Guess how many I moved down?
0.
0 positions, either way, same thing. Still ahead of Marvin, though. He's 37th. I'm in 36th. 40th, JJ Husker Fan. 40th, way to go, JJ. Good move. 45th, Ray Indy, R-A-E Indy. Just behind Hockey Dad, ahead of Team English. What's up, Mike English? 50th, DRT Girl. Dirt Girl 2, who is beating Giovanni. Giovanni down 2 positions, has now slid out of the top 50. Teen Gray down 1, 55th. Just ahead of Aviator and ahead of Find Time to Leave Me Loose Wheel. Whew, bad. Derail 100. New Hampshire Bucknut, 442, 65th, and then everybody else has quit playing. So has New Hampshire Bucknut. And there you go. Those are the Fantasy League results. The results of the Fantasy
League. This week, Watkins Glen.
Yes.
Road course. You guys know what to do.
Are the new Bristol. I love road courses. And I love being out in Sonoma this past week, being at the road course, even though we were drag racing at the road course. Man, it's so beautiful out there. I know you've done the Sonoma thing with the fam in the past. But the wine tasting, I went to check in at the hotel. I got so many great stories. I know you are very curious about my stories, Giovanni. And you're definitely going to ask me all kinds of great questions. But the thing that was really interesting, first of all, being in Denver. Denver was great. Love Denver. Denver and that race, the Mile High Nationals, was just spectacular. We had such a great time. Golden Block Party, had all kinds of fun. But then I went to Utah to visit my aunt and my cousin Bill. But,
that's right. You were hanging on the set of the Wild Wild West.
I was hanging out on the set of the Wild Wild West. Did you see the trains?
I did.
That was the coolest thing.
Did you get to meet Robert Conrad?
I did. I met Robert Conrad. Oh, let's go. WFO, you're on the air. Open phones.
Hey, Joe.
It's Race Guitar. There he is, Race Guitar. What's going on? How are you doing, Race Guitar?
I'm doing all right.
Did your WFO shirt come in the mail today?
No, not me. I'm going to pick one up in Maple Grove.
You didn't purchase one. Oh, you're going to get one at the trailer for the full experience. I like that. Yeah. I have no I totally agree that is kind of cool. So you could give them trouble. You'd be in there, and they could see exactly the type of people, the high-quality, refined person that purchased the WFO Radio T-shirt.
I don't know if that's true, but, yeah, I'll buy one at the trailer.
Good job, Race Guitar.
Yeah, so a long time no talk. What do you got, man? Let's get it on. I was just about to tell Gio about going to the point of the Golden Spike.
That's cool. That was very cool that you did that.
I was super excited about it. I just wish I could have spent more time out there because we had like dinner plans, and my aunt was like, "Oh my gosh, we got to go dinner plans. We can only spend a few minutes here." I would have loved to have taken some really good photography and framed up some cool shots, and everything I posted was just like rapid fire. But I was there, man. And you could feel the history, Race Guitar. And for those that don't know, the Golden Spike is the connection point of the Transcontinental Railroad, where they came together, and the two steam engines, one building from east to west, one building from west to east, met. And they drove the Golden Spike, the last tie of the Transcontinental Railroad. What you truly united East and West in our country. A great historic moment, once again.
Yeah, that's awesome. I was actually just catching up on a podcast that Kathy just recommended, and they were we just went through a whole bunch of episodes about the westward expansion and the Oregon Trail and all that kind of became obsolete, let's say, with the Transcontinental Railway completion.
Right. That's funny.
Why would you drive the wagon train all the way across the country from Missouri if you don't have to? You could just throw everything on the train. And
they said like 7 weeks became 3 days or something, and that just totally fundamentally changed the whole civilization. And are you listening to that podcast that she recommended, like History That Doesn't Suck?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I listened to a couple of episodes that she recommended as well.
Yeah, they do a real good job.
Yeah, exactly. Now, this WFO stuff is not anywhere remotely as informative as that. This is just, I would call this pure entertainment to some questionable people.
What, the historical aspect of it?
No, this, WFO.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, look, it's fine. It's entertainment. It is what it is.
It is what it is. It's like,
no better or worse. It's no better or worse than anything else.
You're not, like, becoming a better person by listening to it.
Well, I don't know. Sometimes Gio has little nuggets of wisdom.
Every now and again, that is true. Gio's nuggets of wisdom.
Hey,
this is a new
even
segment.
A broken clock is right twice a day.
Yeah, new segment. Like Gio's nugget of wisdom for today. Get your Mona Lisa tattooed on your forehead for $1.5 million. Take the money.
Get a Mona Lisa tattooed on my head for $1.5 million?
Well, it's actually for $3 million, but since I have to split it with Mrs. Gio, I only get to keep 1.5.
All right, so Race Guitar, you never call with nothing, so let's hear what you got.
Yeah, I like
that.
Listen,
I was just, excuse me, I was just thinking about last weekend and numbers, television ratings, and I was wondering if you had a basic answer for a question. When you see the NHRA put out ratings, or any motorsport, let's say, do they take into account the online viewership, or is that strictly who's watching a given race on Fox at that time?
I'm under the impression that does not
TV
include
viewership.
It does not include, stream stuff. It's
correct.
Whoever is watching the television, the metered markets for television.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And so, did you hear the numbers? We announced the numbers right at the start of today's show, kind of on accident.
I didn't actually. I've been on the road, but what were they? Good, strong numbers?
No, they were. I mean, I don't know if they were good, strong numbers. In comparison to what, I do know that they beat IndyCar head to head. IndyCar was on NBC apparently, and NHRA was on Fox, and NHRA beat IndyCar by 1,000 viewers.
Yeah.
And what was the ballpark numbers?
671,000 to 670.
And supposedly up over the previous year. So that's all good. Like, the trend is good. And beating IndyCar head-to-head is good. And not getting whooped by them is good, which means, there's a lot of money spent on IndyCar and such. So It's a viable motorsport. It is what it is.
No, it's true. And if you say 607,000, if we're saying compared to, I don't know, NASCAR, Game of Thrones, whatever.
Fortnite.
It's a low number, but think about that. That's 671,000 people across the United States that were watching drag racing.
Yeah,
right.
That's an impressive.
And look, and everyone.
That's an impressive number.
Actually, it is. It's not 30 million people watching Game of Thrones or whatever, but the NASCAR race got 2 million viewers. Okay, so NASCAR, while those numbers have been coming back down, I don't know. Everybody claims they love the NFL and they love to watch it for free, right? But I saw a stat recently that the DirecTV package, that football package that they sell for you to get all the games, it really only has just over 2 million subscribers. So when it comes down to it, as much as people love football, there's really only 2 million people willing to pay the $200 or $300 or whatever it costs to get the whole package for the year.
Right. It is. Listen, here's the deal.
So
it is what it is.
I mean?
Well, the number is the number. Whatever the number is, and you go and build it from there. Whatever it is, it's good to know that the universe that is NHRA drag racing is on par, equal, slightly greater to the universe that is the IndyCars, because IndyCars are a viable business. They're out there, like people love them. They have a following, and so do we.
It's about the same as the Formula One ratings on ESPN.
And it's about
also
so good for that. Whatever that is, that's good enough to create something and grow from. And that's where we are.
And by the way, we've seen races that got a million viewers on that were on Fox earlier in the year.
Yeah,
for NHRA.
Have a lead in.
So
that's it. You have a lead in, and that's that. Next.
I just find it interesting that we live in an unprecedented time right now in terms of motorsports coverage. Let's just take myself for example. So on the weekend, obviously, I've got NHRA.TV going from Sonoma.
How's it been? Has it been more stable this year? Has it been solid, better?
Honestly, Joe, I don't comment often, but I haven't had any problems. I mean, if I click it, turn it on, set it up, and it goes and goes and goes. Like it doesn't buffer, it doesn't do anything. It just works perfectly.
Good to hear. I'm hearing more and more of that every once in a while, like 6 hours in, you might have to restart or something.
Look, I could tell you firsthand, this weekend I had it on Friday while I was doing office work on a desktop, and it never went away once. And Saturday and Sunday I had it on the tablet sitting on the TV while I had other stuff playing on the TV, and not once did it go away.
Yeah, no, I think they're getting it a lot better.
My experience.
And so that was my experience
as well.
This weekend, I had not a single disconnection, not a single have to refresh, and I pretty much exclusively watched from either my phone or a tablet as I was walking around the house and doing some, the to-do list.
Yeah.
Well, good to hear.
I know, that's my experience too. Like it works flawlessly. For me, I don't know. I'm sure that other people have legitimate gripes or situations,
or maybe not. Race Guitar, like you have to understand that. What kind of bandwidth do they have? What kind of internet do they have? What kind of service do they have? Like there's 50 elements between NHRA putting out their signal and the person receiving the signal. And for the person to always assume that it's NHRA's fault and it's at the source is just unfair. Yeah. But then again, we've got a lot of people who are unfair.
Well, so anyway, to get back to my point so I had that going. Meanwhile, I'm also able to watch the live stream from Topeka for the doubleheader regional. And, it doesn't matter from Wednesday to Sunday night. There's a race somewhere streaming someplace that you could watch. You know what I mean? Like, I know that the sprint car guys have a huge package that's always on. I mean, so I'm just curious because when we look at the TV numbers, surely there's people watching it from other modes that, if they're not accounted into that number. So let's say that it's as little as 50,000. Well, then that throw that onto the pile of the 600 plus watched on Fox. And I mean, it's a significant number.
Well, when NHRA went through their whole shift a couple of years ago, they took the television in-house. The method was this, that the television show on Fox Sports and Fox Sports 1 is a lead generation mechanism to bring in new fans, casual fans, show them the sport, make some money selling advertising to this mass market of 700,000 people, and at the same time, the converted who really love what they're seeing will go to NHRA.TV and watch the hardcore product, right? That's the deal. And they'll pay $120 a year. They'll get every minute of every race. They'll hear Joe Castello, the great talent. That is Joe Castello and others, Alan Reinhart, Brian Lones, Johnny Moto, etc., Louis Bloom occasionally. And that will, of course, I'm being humorous, that will be the way it works. And it's been going pretty good. The only problem is NHRA All Access has had a couple of little rollout issues, a little deal, and the fans are merciless. Like the drag racing fans. Like, I've been thinking about this a lot lately. Like, you go up and down the Facebook pages and the message boards, and we have got some merciless fans blaming and attacking the sport for every problem that is not necessarily the sport or NHRA's problem. They're just attacking and ripping and shredding when the thing is actually getting better.
Well, I totally agree with that. This is just a problem of the social media, because it's not just NHRA fans; it's all of them in general. Yankee Twitter. There's some retard. Some
mentally challenged,
some disabled, challenged person that suggested that since that we trade Aaron Judge now because he sucks. Essentially, was what the guy was saying.
Right.
Because he's in a slump and he's like 1 for 20 since the All-Star break.
Yeah. Yeah,
and so he's like, we might as well trade him now, okay? And so there's always – I just think that the whole thing of social media is there for people to vent their anger and frustration.
Well, I think it actually goes a little deeper than that. I don't know if I feel comfortable talking about WoW, but like right now I feel like in Civilization there's a thing that has taken over where just everything sucks, everything's bad, everyone's doing a bad job, nothing is good, everything should be torn down, everything should be bad. It's just like pure negativity. Bobby Bennett had that story a couple of weeks ago about cutting the races back to 2 days. And then Andrew Wolf from Dragzine has a story out where he wants to cut the schedule back to 18 races. And like everyone is just cut back, take down, remove, eliminate, cut back that. And I am like, I don't get that at all. I think it would be a massive mistake. And the second that it happened, the sport would be lying in wreckage, and there would be another story about how the sport was lying in wreckage and someone's fault.
Right.
Yeah. No, by the way, I agree totally with that sentiment, Joe. You can't cut the schedule. Do we need to reduce costs in Nitro? Absolutely. But do we need to cut the schedule? No way. You can't.
Yeah, and like really, cut costs in Nitro. Like, what does that mean? Like, they're going to spend the money. Don Schumacher does an interview with Comp Plus, and in the thing he talked about like the biggest costs were hotel rooms and benefits for crew guys. Like, he mentions health insurance. Like, oh great, so pay our guys less.
Yeah. No, I get it, but my when I say cut costs, I mean that you can't have. I don't think that we should have low buck teams coming out that that they're going to come out and that they're just going to walk away having lost money. We need to figure out a way where they can at least leave the track at the end of the weekend and have broken even. But that's a topic that needs a lot more discussion.
Right. Well, it definitely does. And there's got to be a method. Like, I don't know. I mean, we could go very deep on that, but it's pointless here on Ignition. Save that for NHRA Nitro. Or at the track, frankly. Everybody's buzzing about it. Everybody's talking about it. And I don't know if anything's coming down the pike, by the way. I think I read those stories every year, man. Every year that story comes up. It's like, enough with the story, man. This is it. This is a sport. Do you like it? That's it.
Yeah. I agree. I would say, though, the only thing that I would add to the NHRA conversation and the program as it is that I'm a huge Sportsman fan, the Lucas Oil Series. That, to me, is the biggest untapped potential product that the NHRA has that they just practically do nothing with. Nothing drives me crazier than being at the track, and then after the last Nitro top fuel car goes down the track, that ad popping up saying X Nitro session 240. What are you saying to everybody? You're saying to everybody, oh, you could just do whatever the hell you want. Just make sure you're sitting back down for 240.
Well, that's exactly what we're saying.
There's amazing racing happening on the racetrack now.
Yeah, well, the answer
is... Just because you hear Joe's voice on the microphone doesn't mean it's time for you to go get a hot dog. He's calling some amazing racing.
But the people got to go down and interact with our marketing partners at some point, right? The Midway, the race teams. Part of the allure of NHRA is that you want to watch them work on the cars, and the only time to do that, we assume we know what the fans are going to do. You know, it's pretty like when the Nitro cars end and Pro Stock rolls out, you're going to lose 20 to 30% of the people in the stands. They're going down. Okay, when Nitro...
I think it was you, but
yes.
I think it was you that pointed out there's still, let's say 20 to 30%. There's still 7% of the people sitting in those seats.
And that crowd, by the way, and that audience is the largest audience in drag racing for anything other than Nitro. That's my point. Is like you can't get that many people to watch a drag race anywhere else in the world at any time when you compare the Pro Stock audience to anything else.
Right, okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Okay.
I get it.
It's a little bit of a statistical play on words, so to speak, because those people are also there to see Nitro, but they didn't leave. They like the Pro Stockers. Not everybody. You didn't retain everybody, but you retained 70%.
Yeah.
But whatever. I like, in my opinion, I think that untapped resources and growth are important, and the way you do it is with personality-driven shows. I like to think, like, let's just play ripoff here, right? Success Leaves Tracks. A reality TV Street Outlaws ripoff featuring stock eliminator racers at NHRA national events. Okay?
Oh, I totally what you want.
Right. It's same deal, man. Same deal. Rip it off. Yeah. Rip it off. Just steal the format. Right? We're going to have these personalities. There's going to be 10 guys at the start of the season. We're going to follow. These are the 10. They're going to all be chasing the national championship. It's going to be, Randy Lynn Shipp, and it's going to be Mike Cotton, and it's going to be an old guy and a young guy and a black guy and a kid, and they're all going to have
Jason Lamb,
Justin Lamb,
all the
right.
Just that's it. The names that you think of when we think soccer eliminator. Sure, absolutely.
And you hear about their personalities, and you follow them around. And here's where it all hits the rocks. Ready? Money, right? TV people cost a lot of money, like the crews, the camera guys, everybody that does anything that touches a television is worth like Gio and my life as radio people. It's like, oh my God, you're not even worth it's just so manpower is impossible. It's a great challenge. So we could have a million wonderful ideas. If you don't have the capital to pay the people to do it, to put out a couple of shows, you are going nowhere. And that's the problem.
And that's the problem. By the way, that's the problem across the board. When it comes to, when you say, people, you still see people screaming, oh, there's too many Chevys in Pro Stock. There's not enough Fords. How come there's no Dodge engine, which there is, but how come there's no Dodge engine? How come there's no money? If nobody's willing to invest the money, you're not going to see the product on the racetrack.
Simple as that.
And that's all there is to it. Yeah.
And they did, and nobody ran them. You had Bob Glidden was the Ford guy all those years. All those years. You had one, you had two maybe. You had a couple. Yeah. Ricky Smith for a while. The Dodge boys.
Yeah, that's what everyone... By the way, that's what everyone seems to forget. It's not like there was ever a 16-car field with, 6 Chevys, 5 Dodges, and 5 Fords. There was always only 1 or 2 Dodges, 1 or 2 Fords that were running competitively.
Well, what happened was you had Pontiac and you had Oldsmobile. And you had, within General Motors, you had multiple brands that were competing against each other. And somebody posted on our Facebook page, speaking of podcasts being shared, and I am totally okay with it. I want everybody to understand. I love the idea of supporting all kinds of podcasts and their great information. And believe it or not, as someone who does one, I am beginning to do more and more podcast listening just to increase my knowledge base, et cetera, and so on. But I think it was Sean Anderson posted in our Facebook group that, the Life and Death of Pontiac podcast. There's RCR Stories, The Life and Death of Pontiac. And it's like by car reviews. And it was really nice. It was really nice the way the guy did it. He's kind of just reading and they puts an echo on his voice when he's like quoting somebody else. But it was very interesting and informative and also sad. But that's why we had diversity in Pro Stock, because you had multiple General Motors brands all spending money.
Yeah. Hey, well, listen, I'll just leave you with one more thing. I do got to roll the truck here. But, when we talk about putting drag racing in front of an audience, and I know that there's talk of it, but if people are willing to watch poker, high stakes poker, you mean to tell me you couldn't put together an interesting TV package to race, a bunch of bracket racers racing for $1 million?
It's a no-brainer. I've got this. I've already pitched this idea. The thing that makes the card play interesting is that you show their cards and you know who is bluffing and who's not bluffing and who's taking a risk and who's not taking a risk. You would have to post-produce the bracket race. You'd have to show their reaction times and then show the in-car camera how they handle the situation. It's easily done. You need the money. You need the money to do it. You need one of these big money bracket racing. You need Peter and Kyle to invest an extra $100,000 in building a show around their spring fling, and they could do it. Are they going to do that? No chance, and that's the sad part.
See, but I will say though that, and I'm sketchy on the details, but I do believe that there is one of the upcoming millions next year for the guaranteed million purse that has the TV plan. I don't know what it is, but we'll have to watch for the details.
Well,
it's definitely something to keep an eye on.
I hope they ask me to be involved. I want to be involved in one of those things. I want to do something. I want to be the host. Go around
I'm fully
positioning.
I'm fully behind that.
There it is.
All right, listen, I got to let you go. I'll talk to you soon. It was a great conversation, by the way.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you, Race Guitar.
Absolutely. Hey, Gio, have a good one, man. Talk to you soon.
Gio, you going to say anything?
WFO, Race Guitar.
Yeah, Gio's diving in at the end of these conversations. He just bugs out, man. He's not even thinking about this stuff.
I'm listening.
No, you were in on the NHRA.TV part of it. All right, Race Guitar.
He's thinking about some delicious barbecue iguana legs.
Oh, gross.
Dude, we are being overrun by the iguanas. No joke.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen, have a good one. WFO.
WFO, Race Guitar.
WFO. Open phones. Already a great success. We've had 3 calls. That's it. No more calls. That's it.
For all we know, there was a 4th call that you didn't take the first one.
No, it was the same number. It was Deep and Hawk. I rushed him off the line. I feel bad for that. All right, let's get into Formula One.
Rushed him off the line. I think we did all right. He said his piece.
All right, let's get into Formula One, and then we're going to get on out of here because we got a bunch of stuff going on. Like everything is going on. Here's the thing, okay? New rule. They got to wet all the racetracks. That's it. From now on, right? Like, just wet the racetracks, and every problem is solved.
At least every other week.
At least every other week. The race was fantastic. It was exciting. Downside, yes, they tore up probably $25 million in equipment.
Each team.
But, boy, was it captivating and exciting. German Grand Prix, best race of the year, by far.
Bar none.
Just everybody crashing. Lewis crashing. Bottas crashing. Everybody crashing.
Leclerc. Everybody.
Just spinning out of control in the wet. It's hard to go fast in the wet. The cars equalized. Like, all that money you spent didn't matter. Haas, double points. They both got points, baby.
Yeah, they actually came 9th and 10th, but I believe the who is it that Kimi drives for? Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, Alfa.
The Alphas got disqualified for something, and they had both finished 7th and 8th, so we moved up. Haas moved up. Double points. Best race of the year for Haas. I don't know if we turned a corner, but definitely rain is the cure-all for Formula One.
That having been said, here's your Haas F1 report. Can we have our drivers not collide with each other anymore, please? Just asking. Haas F1 drivers, can you please avoid wheel banging each other? This is the most basic rule of Formula One. This team cannot afford this kind of craziness. Roman Grosjean or K-Mag, whatever the deal is, can you not collide, please?
Yeah, Gunther's head is going to explode.
My head's going to explode. There's the 2 Haas's. Bang, collide. Why?
They blame each other. It's great.
Here's another one of their beautiful.
What is he doing?
Here's another one of their beautiful press releases coming out of Kannapolis, North Carolina, July 30th. Fresh off a double points effort in Sunday's German Grand Prix, where Rich Energy Haas F1 teams Roman Grosjean and Kevin Magnussen finished 8th and 7th, respectively, to deliver the team's best collective result of the season, the American outfit heads to Budapest for this weekend's Hungarian Grand Prix. The 2.722-mile, 14-turn Hungaroring is a tight circuit that many drivers liken to a full-size karting track. It is the slowest permanent venue in Formula One, a change from recent run of power circuits. Slow, however, doesn't mean easy. Despite an average speed of 124 miles per hour, which is notably slower than the average speed drivers normally experience in Formula One, the Hungaroring's precision and preservation. It is a physical track, demanding a lot from the drivers, who in turn demand a lot from their car. And there you go.
That'll do it, huh?
Yes.
The Hungaroring.
The Hungaroring. We didn't get a lot of feedback about the whole Rich Energy saga, but I thought we did a pretty good job.
We were all over that.
Well, we just read somebody else's article. We let somebody else do all the work, and then we read their work to our audience, thus being informed.
So that's how it worked.
It's kind of interesting. As far as the big rumor.
Well, it's silly season for Formula One is now this summer break, because that's when they start making plans and driver changes for next year.
Right. The big rumor is that Max Verstappen is coming to Ferrari. So let's just
dwell. Let's take that in for a second.
Let's dwell. Vettel would be out. Verstappen would be in.
Yes, that would be the swap.
If somehow that could happen, which initially, like when Gio told me that, I was like, yeah, right. Why on earth would Verstappen leave his situation that is great to, come to a situation that were kind of sketchy? And the answer is that when you win at Ferrari, you become a god. And when you win at Red Bull, you're a guy who won some stuff. And if we could make that deal right now, I got to do it. You got to do it. I feel badly for Sebastian Vettel. Vettel has been our guy, but this is what Formula One fandom is all about. You root for either the driver or the country or the factory. We are Ferrari fans. We root for Ferrari. We do not root for Sebastian Vettel because of Vettel. We root for Sebastian Vettel because he's Ferrari. When Alonso was here, we rooted for Alonso. When Vettel was here, we rooted for Vettel. We want to win. Have we won? No, we have not won. Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen has got massive upside. That Red Bull is as good or not quite as good or in the neighborhood of the Ferrari, and he's winning with it. Could he win in a Ferrari? I think he could. I think him and Leclerc, the young dynamic duo, that sounds exciting to me.
I could get behind that. I mean, I've been touting Max since the day one he showed up.
Day one. Now, Rich York, of course, would no longer be on our team because he's a Vettel guy.
He could go be a Red Bull fan again.
He could go do something, right? Like, who knows? Vettel would probably retire or do like a Kimi Räikkönen, and and then you got Verstappen and Leclerc. If you can make
arguably
that happen,
two of the best young drivers on the circuit.
If you can make that happen,
you have to go.
You have to do it. Whether it be good, bad, otherwise for Vettel. Look, Ferrari, much like the New York Yankees of the 1980s, seems to be getting these guys just past their prime with a car that's not quite the pinnacle.
I think the issue has been the car, though, because the car. I think Fernando Alonso would have won if the car was there for him.
There's many things, but really the problem is Lewis Hamilton. That's the problem.
Another problem.
Just like Michael Jordan was the problem for everybody else, right? That's the problem. You got Lewis Hamilton and you've got Mercedes together. That's the problem. What was the problem for the rest of the field between 2005 and 2000? Jimmy Johnson was the problem. That's the problem.
06 and 2010.
It's not that you're not doing it right. It's that he's the best that there's been. And Lewis Hamilton is the best that there's been. What's the problem with the NFL? Problem is not any team. It's Tom Brady. And Belichick is the problem. That's why your team is. That's why I don't feel so terrible about the Miami Dolphins being stink for the past however many years. Because you know what? It doesn't matter how good they were. They weren't going to be better than those guys. Those guys are the best we've ever seen for the most part.
Yeah, no.
So it would have been just a big waste of our time. Losing in the AFC Championship game, losing in the second round to them, losing to you.
I don't know, man. I think it's better than going 6-10.
It is definitely, but it would have been. We've lived that experience with the Buffalo Bills in the past already. It would be better to be competing, but you would have still lost.
Yeah, that's right. They would have been going to championship games and watching Buffalo lose 4 Super Bowls in a row.
Still would be losing. And so that's what's happening for our. Like we could have won that 1 year with Alonso if they played the strategy a little bit better. There was one, various years.
The first year.
But it's time to turn the page now, and it's time to go young. Go young. Get Verstappen. Make the move. Verstappen, Leclerc, 2 young guys pushing each other.
Actually, I think it's Leclerc, but
Leclerc.
Yeah.
Leclerc. I hear them call him Leclerc.
I'm not up to date on my French.
I am. It doesn't matter.
Au revoir.
It doesn't matter. So anyway, that's very interesting. But, it's really Lewis Hamilton, man. He's the guy. He continues. He crashed out. He got no points, right? No big deal. Wet race.
No, he did. I think he ended up coming back and finished he was 11th, but I think he moved up to 9th or 10th with the disqualifications.
IndyCar, Scott Dixon picking up the win.
Mid-Ohio.
Nice track. Scott Dixon picking up the win. That is also on the DVR. All right. Anything else? Sports Collision.
There was that Tony Stewart incident, but, just Tony Stewart getting angry, took a shot at a guy, and literally took a swing at a guy. I don't know if you've seen the video.
I saw the video.
Didn't really connect, but my goodness, Tony. You gotta stay away from that, my man.
Yeah, listen, here's
Tony
the thing
Stewart needs to be
Stewart.
like these musicians and rappers. He's got to get a security team out
Let's
there.
pretend Tony Stewart is our family member. Okay? Like, we as racing fans, for the most part, we like Tony Stewart, even though he does things that are unadvisable.
That we don't like.
Right. And I've been doing this for 100 years, this speech right here. But now, Tony, you got so much to lose and nothing to gain by popping that guy. So much to lose. You're right on the brink. You've got a whole bunch of things on your resume where if you were to go to court, a judge doesn't carry your Tony Stewart, you could end up in jail, man. There's so much to lose. And the feeling of happiness that you're going to get from popping that guy.
And by the way, the fans were egging him on, too.
They know that you're they're not friends of Tony Stewart.
No,
if you're a real fan of Tony Stewart, Tony, don't do it.
No, it's not no, please. You grab him and you get him out of that situation. You cannot be involved in them. Tony Stewart is the co-owner of a multi-million-dollar NASCAR racing operation.
Yeah, with big corporate sponsors.
The owner of all these other sprint cars, racetracks.
What kind of people are these? It's funny that you're on this.
He is a corporation.
What kind of people are these? Why, Tony, get out of here, man. Tony, walk away, Tony. Tony, walk away. Come on, Tony, walk away. Leave him alone. Forget that guy.
And if he doesn't,
forget that guy. The guy's a jerk.
If he's not
walk
hanging
away,
around
Tony.
with 3 friends that are doing that, then he needs to get security detail. That's it.
Yeah.
Somebody messes with you, you just yell security.
Yep.
And that's it. Because he cannot be popping somebody in the punching somebody in the face when they piss him off at a dirt track somewhere.
Nope.
It just cannot happen.
Well, because there is a guy out there who wants to get punched in the face by Tony Stewart. And if you're that easy to set off, like I could come up and get you to punch me in the face and then sue you, and you're going to have to settle, and I've just manipulated you. Come on, Tony, where are you? You're supposed to be like every time I met you, you're pretty nice and smart guy.
As likable as he is, he's not as likable as Charles Barkley that just could throw a guy through a plate glass window.
And that was a different era, man. That was 25 years
almost
ago.
30 years ago, actually, but yes.
He caught some hell for it, whatever. Nowadays,
he paid somebody off, and that's it. But
right.
Nowadays, you'll go to jail for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's sad for Tony. All right, Sports Collision.
That was it.
Sports Collision.
Today was the Major League Baseball trade deadline.
Well, wait. I want to start out with the passing of Nick Bonacani.
Okay, yeah.
You guys remember from Inside the NFL, right? What was it?
Yes, Inside the NFL on HBO.
Len Dawson, Nick Bonacani, and
I
then
think
later
the show
Marino
still exists now on Showtime, but I mean,
back in the day, though, it was like really the weekly NFL show, and I watched every week and loved it, and I always looked forward to watching the Dolphin recap with the music from NFL films. It was fantastic. And now we've been kind of overtaken by just too much coverage.
Jerry Glanville was on.
Glanville. Love Glanville. And
Marino was even on for a while.
Dan Marino, of course.
But
really, it was a perfect Miami Dolphin, and we're connected to Daryl Gwynn, the Bonacani Fund to Cure Paralysis.
The Miami Project is what it.
Well, now it's the Bonacani Fund.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
But they're all tied together.
Yeah.
Nick's son, Mark, was paralyzed on the field.
Absolutely, on the football
field. It was
field.
right around the same time that Daryl Gwynn had his problem. They've been great friends, and it's just sad because Nick was a classy guy. Classy. Everybody loved him. Classy. Loved him. It's just sad.
A Hall of Fame football player, but he had a great broadcasting career and involved in many businesses down here locally, as well as the hundreds of millions of dollars that he helped. They started that Miami Project to Cure Paralysis. That didn't exist till his son got injured, and they tried to figure out a way to help people that were in this
by the way, they haven't yet, but not very much time has passed. They're getting close. They're getting close with these stem cells to regrowing people's spinal cords and stuff, folks. It's not impossible someday. So anyway, I just wanted to mention Nick. Perfect Miami Dolphin. No other team has ever done that to this day.
18-1.
Not even Tom Brady and Belichick. Thank you, Eli.
And the New York Football Giants, who are now a bloody mess.
Whatever, man. They've won a bunch of Super Bowls recently. Can't have everything, man.
Recently. I mean, yes, it wasn't as recent as...
They've won 2 in the last 10 years.
2007.
They've 2 in the last 12 years.
Anyway, I digress. Today was the Major League Baseball trade deadline, and it was a flurry of trades and a frenzy because they came out with that new... This is the actual trade deadline that... They used to be like the end of July was a trade deadline, but then you could get like minor deals with like lesser name guys if they cleared waivers and stuff like that.
Yes.
That is no longer. So that's why there was such a frenzy and such a flurry of trades. And some teams improved themselves.
Why are you saying the word flurry so many times?
I don't know.
It's a Stu Gatz thing, man.
Is it?
Yeah.
Flurry?
Yep. You got to stop that.
All right.
I think you know.
No, I don't think I know. I don't even listen to that show anymore. I'm working.
Back in the day, man. They were doing that a lot.
Anyway, so teams improved themselves. Our New York Yankees didn't do much. They're all in on getting their injured players back.
Listen,
it's a little disappointing.
Everyone behind the scenes, my group text with Paulie the White Guy, Ant the Argentine Assassin / King of Nothing, Vlad, Sports Radio Vlad, and Giovanni here was like depression. Yankee crying towel. Oh, here's another person.
It is a little disappointing when you see everybody else that you're competing for a championship with.
WFO, you're on the air.
Trying to improve their team.
What's up? What's up, Joe?
Hey, how are you?
Long time no speak, Joe.
Jay.
How you been?
I'm great. Jay,
You've been doing a really awesome job out there.
Oh, thank you so much.
Sorry we missed you when you were here in February.
Yeah, that was a bummer.
Here at Wild Horse. Yeah, but I'm surprised. I'm going to surprise you. I'm going to be talking about how competitive IndyCar is this season.
All right, lay it on.
Normally I like to. Normally I talk drag racing, but that's Steve Torrance's game right now. With the way things are going for him, but anyway, I'm just so surprised at how competitive it's really been this season so far. I mean,
the races that I've seen, have been entertaining, and that's all that I ask. It's fun to watch drivers, move through the field. I like the cars. Obviously the Indy 500 was fantastic, but I have only gotten to see some races. Like I have yet to see this past weekend's race from Mid-Ohio.
Oh, it was a good one. I won't. Do you know who won?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I got
already.
That. Yeah.
Okay. I won't spoil it for you how the finish was, but it was pretty good.
Now you were watching that instead of watching NHRA drag racing on Fox, eh?
Yeah, I was going in between. Actually, I was at work.
All right.
Yeah, I was actually at work that day, so I could only keep up the live timing, and also the same way with the IndyCars.
Very good.
So I kept up with live timing there, and just kept up on it that way. And it was nobody really could get away at Mid-Ohio. Maybe 1 or 2 second lead at the most, and it's really surprising. Yeah, Penske and them is winning races, most of them so far this season, but nobody's letting them get away for sure. All the teams are stepping up. Andretti's stepping up, and then Colton Hurd has just been a revelation this year. Him winning at Circuit of Americas and the youngest IndyCar winner ever. So these new teams coming up against the Penskes and the Ganassis and Andretti's are these next few years for IndyCar. I think going to be real exciting. I like it. I like it a lot.
Well, that is correct. That is great. I'm glad that you're appreciating. I know that, we've got the Steinbrenner connection, which is, we were just talking New York Yankees baseball a little bit, and that's kind of cool. And I know Colton, we got to interact with Brian Herta when we were doing the satellite show, because he was part of the satellite radio IndyCar team. And, a very intelligent, well thought out person, like driver's driver mentally wise, like everybody had the utmost respect for him. I only would imagine that, his spawn would have all that knowledge and more talent and youth to go with it. So I think it's great that he is doing so well.
Yeah, me too. And you have other guys like there's the Felix Rosenquist. He's doing real well. Marcus Ericsson, he's a Formula One transplant. He seems to take real well to these cars too. The these high speed circuits coming up are it's going to be real exciting for them.
Yeah, I think this Santino Ferrucci is going to turn into something mega.
Yeah, he's been. I don't know what he finished at Mid-Ohio, but yeah, they've talked about him a lot these last few weeks, and it's been pleasing to hear these new names. To get on the podium up there, during the races and all that makes it exciting. It brings new fans into the sport.
Absolutely,
to hear these new names.
There's got to be a changing of the guard. There's always a changing of the guard. I do feel bad though that Marco Andretti just didn't pan out, but whatever. It is what it is. I hope he gets 1 or 2 before it's all over.
Joe, I'll say this. I've always said this ever since it happened, since Indy of 2006, when he finished second to Sam Hornish Jr.
Yes.
That close. He's never been the same. I think it's her. Mother and I have been lifelong Andretti fans, and we've lived with the heartbreak that they've had trying to win that race almost every single year of our lives. And ever since 2006, he's just, I don't know what it is, but he just hasn't been the same.
Yeah, but okay, I agree with you, but it cannot be that Sam Hornish reached into Marco's chest and pulled out his soul and ate it on that last move? Come on, Marco, come on. Month of May comes up once a year. Let's go. Something. You're not the only one. There's got to be, millions of Andretti fans. A lot of, they want to see this thing happen. And why can't Marco do the Andrew Hines and just hit the treadmill and start to work and be like the Bandit and Smokey and the Bandit 2 and do all the workout stuff and get going again and give it a last ride like these last 5 years? Figure it out.
Yeah, he is a runner that, likes to get in his cardio work. I mean, you would think that would help somewhat.
No, of course. I mean, I know he's in shape, but what you just said, like if that is true, that was his rookie year. That Hornish reached into his soul and just ate it, and now he just can't. That can't be that. He's been in the mix a couple of times, but not lately.
Yeah. It was a few years ago. He was driving the Snapple car, and he wasn't too far from. I don't know if he finished third or fourth.
Well, they did a wrong wing adjustment on the final pit stop. They went in the wrong direction. I remember that one. They were going to do one thing to a car, and they went the other way, and that's it. They lost.
That's it. So he's had some flashes of brilliance.
Yeah, but anyway,
he's had some flashes of brilliance.
So how's Mama Seelig? Is she good?
Yeah, she's good. She says hello, Joe.
Oh, well, tell her that we send our love.
Thank you, Joe. And by the way, nice T-shirt design.
Oh, thank you very much. That's awesome. Everybody's making a fuss about it. I'm very thrilled and honored about it.
All right, when we can, we'll order a couple for you.
That is fantastic,
right.
And it's also available at the track, which is kind of cool. Like Race Guitar just got off the phone. He says he's going to wait so he can walk up to the Nitrofish trailer and purchase it on site, which is a very cool experience too.
I believe he said Maple Grove.
Maple Grove, right.
Yeah, but I've got to wait till February, though, over here.
Yeah,
so.
no, you might as well do it online. There you go.
All right, Joe, have a good night. Take care, Gio. We'll see you guys later.
Bye-bye, Jay.
Jay Seelig, thank you. There goes Jay Seelig. Wow, man, this has been it. We got the WFO All-Stars are on there now. It's great stuff. No, I'm glad. This show started out weird with you, like, informing me that everything, my life's work is meaningless. But I shook it off. I'm okay now.
No, here we are 2 hours later.
2 hours later, that's it.
Isn't this great?
All right, let's dive back into Sports Collision.
Oh, no, now you're going to depress me again about the trade deadline.
But my only question is this. Like, I tend to be an optimistic person. I get it that the Astros now got 3 number 1 starters, and they're going to be very tough. And, yes, we obviously have got a killer lineup, and if we're, it's one of those deals. Are they going to shut us down? Then we're going to be humiliated, all right? And that's what we've seen that game before. But who were we supposed to go get? Like, I've been hearing from the whole season that there were not, like, number 1s out there just available. So if we're going to trade away really high-quality prospects, like throw the kitchen sink at it to get somebody, like, who is the guy? Supposedly, this Greinke said he would not go to New York. Like, we were a team on his no-trade-to list.
Well, there was 15 teams on his no-trade-to list, but those things are, there's lots of guys that claim they have a no-trade list.
All right, but that's just speculating.
Yes, it is. And we don't know that the Yankees were on that list anyway because we don't really know what teams they were.
I saw it reported on MLB that he was on the list and he refused a trade to New York. In the crawl, on the side. It was a note. Yeah. But somebody typed it in, keyed it into the screen, man. So, we don't believe that now. Like, okay.
I'm not just saying.
All right, so what else? Who else? Who was the guy that we didn't get that we should have got? That's when you guys are all, like, tweeting at each other, and I'm watching, and I'm thinking, like, okay, yeah, I guess, but you guys are throwing up the panic button, man, and I'm not panicking just yet. Like, it's not over. Like, we could beat them. Like, we could get hits off Verlander. We could get hits off Greinke. We could get hits off all those guys. The 96 World Series, we shut down the greatest pitching staff in the history of pitching staffs. So it can be done. I know we're at a disadvantage now. That's fine. But what I'm saying is, like, who was the guy
and it's
that we
baseball
didn't
and the
go
ball
get?
bounce is funny.
Who didn't we go get?
But, well, we didn't get Verlander 2 years ago because we didn't want to give up prospects. And that's just it's an overall trend now that in every trade deadline, they don't go after a big fish because they rather go after these middle-of-the-road guys that aren't costing them their key prospects.
I get that.
And that becomes an issue. At some point, look, a couple years ago, we were sellers at the trade deadline, and we brought in some prospects, but the teams that got those prospects both went to the World Series. On the guy, giving up prospects for picking up guys. Like the Cubs picked up Chapman, and he ended up being the key to the World Series and made the final out and everything. They gave up a really, big, important prospect, but they won the World Series.
But you want to give up a prospect for who?
I would have given up the prospect for Verlander a couple years ago.
But did Verlander want to come here? Like, do we know that Verlander say, I would have gone to the Yankees, except they didn't offer the right deal?
Well, it wasn't up to him. He was under contract with Detroit, and we were in the running, and Houston was in the running, and again, we don't know. None of us are really in these rooms. But when it came down to it, the Yankees weren't willing to part with certain prospects.
Right.
And now it's 2-3 years in a row of this, and we're seeing the teams that are willing to part with prospects to bring in a key player like that get to the World Series. And that's all we're asking. While the Yankees are having a very nice season, and I'm not trying to poo-poo the fact that we're in first place in the East, I don't want to just win the East. I want to go to the World Series.
I understand that, but we all want everything.
And so every team that we're competing against did things to improve themselves, and we're just counting on guys that have been injured all year and haven't played at all this year to come back and be 100% of who they were, a season ago.
I know, but you're going beyond this season. Like, why weren't you complaining at the start of the season and all of last year?
I've been complaining that we need starting pitching for a while now. And we don't, while I think that Tanaka is a bulldog, and I think he's our most competent starter, especially come playoff time, I just don't know that this Domingo Germán rookie is going to, he's having a very nice season. But how do I know how he's going to perform come playoff time? We just don't know. It's an unknown.
It's an unknown, but everything's an unknown in this.
But that's just it.
Like,
yeah,
we could tear up these guys, and our lineup could destroy these guys, and we could go on to win the World Series this year. That's part of the unknown possibilities.
But you know what? What has been our failure come playoff time, generally speaking? That in playoffs, pitching wins, and all these great hitters, they get shut down mostly.
Yeah.
And we haven't had those kind of stud pitchers to shut the other team down. And that's it. That's just my complaint. I think they should, they should have offered something to the San Francisco for Bumgarner or
but a couple of weeks
like
ago we were having a conversation though, and you were saying that Bumgarner, the exact same person, was saying a different argument. You were saying that he's not dominant anymore, and he hasn't. What's he done in the past couple of years? Now you're saying we should have thrown the sink at him. Like, you can't do that.
Look, I don't know if people could have argued that Verlander was trending down, but he was on a crappy team that wasn't going anywhere. A lot of these guys, the minute they get on a team that's a winning team and they see a chance at the playoffs, all of a sudden they start pitching so much better than when they were pitching for a last-place team.
That is true, but why didn't you say that 2 weeks ago when I asked you about Bumgarner? Why didn't you say that? You said something totally different.
I didn't expect Houston to go and pick up Zach Greinke. I thought they were going to get a middle-of-the-road guy.
This is SportsCollision, man. You're supposed to be the guy. I'm relying on you. I'm a casual observer. You're the expert, sports nerd. And you telling me one thing 2 weeks ago. I'm like, well, what do you think about this? Not really. And then why did we do it? Oh, my God, we're so stupid. You're giving me whiplash.
That's the way it goes with fandom.
I guess.
It's just, again, if Houston had not picked up, their third best pitcher would be our best pitcher on our staff. Can we, do you agree with that?
I guess, yeah.
I mean, at least this year, the way that our staff has been performing. And so that it's just, I find it hard to win a 7-game series against a team that's going to throw out 3 number ones, and we're throwing out guys that used to be number ones.
No, that's true. That's true.
How much can CeCe give us?
5 innings, one night, maybe.
Right.
But why do you have to pick CeCe? You got Tanaka.
Right. Okay, Tanaka. But he's our number one guy come playoff time.
Yes. Severino comes back.
But we don't know. Severino has not pitched a single inning this year.
He's going to be fine. He's coming back. He's going to come back bigger and better than ever. But we're 8 games up.
But tomorrow is August 1st.
Yeah.
So that means there's 2 months left in the season.
Yes.
The guy has not thrown a single inning, and so even if he were to come back tomorrow and be back on the team, it's going to take him 3-4 weeks to get into mid-season form, right?
I'm with you on our
and that's
rotation.
Just it.
It's been a problem all year long, but they've known it. Maybe they're making a decision. Who's out there on the radar for next year?
Well, I don't know. The free agency class at the end of the year doesn't look so big. Bumgarner will be a free agent at the end of the year. So maybe they're going to, look up and offer him a lot of money and sign him. I don't know. But the bottom line is that in baseball, you have small windows. Even teams like the Yankees, especially now that they've kind of gone on the low budget, they're operating like a small market team. They have gone, I'm all for the analytics, but you just can't base everything you do strictly on analytics. At some point, they got to just go out there and use the fact that they have a money advantage to their advantage.
Yeah, well, I would.
How about we use the analytics
as well
and spend money?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, they're already spending money, man. They're going to have to pay for Judge. They're already paying for Stanton.
They don't have to pay for Judge for a couple years. Stanton. Oh, Stanton's coming back. Really? When?
Yeah, well,
guy hasn't played all year. He played 5 games.
Jeter fleeced him with that deal. That's what I was saying from the beginning, by the way. That Jeter fleeced him.
I wouldn't go that far.
To get him to take the deal, man. To get him to take the deal.
He got him to take the money. That's all that the Marlins
get
really wanted
rid
to
of
do.
this guy.
Get rid of the
this
money.
Guy off the team. Get rid of him. And he did.
Look, you see it here. Marlins fans, what do they complain about? That Christian Yelich is in Milwaukee winning an MVP.
Yes.
Well, he wasn't playing like that down here.
No, he wasn't. Well, what's the point? You're not even in the game.
And that's part of it. There's something, about what you don't know what guys are going to give, or when you're actually competing for something and not competing to try and win one game a week.
Well, listen though. In the end, they sat in a room and they made these decisions, and they knew what was available, and they knew what they had to give, and they knew they had the conversations, and they elected to not. For reasons that they understand. Whether it's like you guys said, Hal Steinbrenner saying, no, don't spend the money. We're not going to spend that kind of money.
I don't know that it's not the money, because it's not money at this point. It's prospects. This isn't like, European soccer that you have to pay $50 million transfer fees and stuff.
Right.
No, it's just what players are you willing to give up to bring back a player?
They must feel pretty good about these players. Like Frazier was one of them.
Right, but we feel so good about him that he's stuck in AAA, and they went and brought in Talkman and and guys like that.
I guess,
right? But that's the whole point. I don't get it. If they're so high on a guy like Frazier, why is he stuck in AAA when Stanton hasn't played all year and the Gazelle went down the other day? They bring up Talkman.
I know,
right.
I know.
You know what I mean?
I know.
So they can't be all that high on Frazier themselves. The kid is got a good bat, but his defense is atrocious.
Well, and this
how many designated hitters are we going to have on the team?
This is the kind of thing that is going to get sorted out over the next few days. They're going to talk.
Mind you, they've got the position players figured out. I mean, they brought in LeMahieu over the offseason. They fleeced St. Louis last year for Luke Voigt. Look, they brought in Gio Urshela, Talkman, all these little trades like that. A couple years ago, they brought in Didi. So they figured out how to get all these position players. They need to figure out how to get some frontline pitching. That's what's killing the Yanks right now.
Right. Well, I listen.
And so that's it. Look,
pitching staff is not very.
Again, they're having a very nice
formidable
season, but it's a little disappointing to watch the teams that you're competing against just do whatever they can to get better and give up prospects, because prospects in the end are just that. They're prospects. The way I see it is this pitcher that the Yankees didn't want to give up to bring in either Stroman or Bauer. At best, you're hoping that he turns into a Bauer type. So why not give up the kid for a guy that you already know what you're going to get from? Because, when you get to the majors, you pretty much are what you are.
Yeah, I get it.
And so that's just it. Like, I think every now and again, it's okay to give up on a guy that you just don't know about to get something that at least you know what they're going to give you consistently.
Right. I follow what you're saying. Just listen, we're just going to have to see. Like, just looking at our rotation is...
it's not good.
Well.
That's just it. No, but, again, look, we don't know this guy Paxton they brought in the offseason. He could turn it on and turn into the guy he was last year. But so far this year, there's...
What about Hap, man? Hap.
But you see, to me, that's the thing. They went and they do a trade like that. So they're trading for a number 3 starter. That's what Hap is. Hap's never been a number 1 anywhere.
Yeah, well, you're making me feel depressed, but...
No, I don't want to. We're winning games, but winning regular season games is not the same as
Gio,
games.
Paul, King of Nothing, and Sports Radio Vlad all predict losing in the ALCS to Houston. That's what you're all doing. This move, basically, just like Sam Hornish, reached into the soul of Marco Andretti and pulled out his fighting spirit and ate it.
Look, say what you want. With
this move, the Astros have done the same to Yankee fans.
Kind of. I just went online, and the new favorite to win the World Series, the co-favorites now, are the Dodgers and the Astros. Co-favorites now to win the World Series.
Wow.
You know, just the other day, the Yanks were the favorite to win the American League, and now it's Houston. And I'm not making this up. That's Vegas.
I understand.
And you know, they build billion-dollar casinos out in the middle of the desert because they kind of know things out there.
Let's
and so that's all I'm saying. Look, it's baseball. It's a round ball, but it bounces funny, kind of like the football. Anything can happen come playoff time, but it generally involves having stud pitchers. And when you go back and say that we beat that Atlanta team of 3 Hall of Famers in the 90s, we weren't throwing, J.A. Happ and a 30-something-year-old Tanaka and a washed-up CC out there. We were throwing David Cone and Andy the Pettit and Roger Clemens.
All right, so here we go. Just since everybody now is listening to WFO to get the addition of Yankee Roll Call. But, hey, this is it. This is the number one story in sports. Ready? This from tomorrow's New York Post from Larry Brooks, columnist. Yankees' cries for help mysteriously weren't answered.
Yankee crying towel.
Sometimes in the risky business of running a Major League Baseball team, you've got to say, what the F? And when general manager Brian Cashman did not, allowing Wednesday's trade deadline to pass, without adding a single player to the big league roster, you had to better believe that the players in his team's clubhouse sure did, at least privately. There were brave public faces and braver public words from the men in pinstripes following the 7-5 victory over the Diamondbacks in the Bronx, during which Zach Greinke pitched 5 innings of 2-run, 2-hit ball before his trade to the Astros. That was apparently consummated during a 36-minute rain delay in the middle of the 6th. Of course, there were those declarations. Zach Britton, who pitched a perfect 8th inning as one of 6 relievers to follow Tanaka, was casually defiant and proclaiming, if we play to our potential, we're better than every team. We are who we are now. I think we're good enough to win the World Series. Tanaka, who left for the 2-0 lead and 2 out and none out in the 5th inning after laboring through a 37-pitch 4th inning, talked about needing to just go out and do what we need to do. That's the bottom line. But the bottom line following this trade deadline, his front office was unable to provide a flawed contender with the help to cross the finish line. Yes, the Yankees have displayed more than admirable resolve this year in working through injuries to core players. When a team is in first with a 10-game lead in the loss column on August 1st, despite the fact 22 players, including Jacoby Ellsbury, why did he even get a mention, have made a combined 27 trips to the injured list, that speaks the volume of the talent and depth Cashman has amassed prior to 4 p.m. Wednesday. And yes, it's most certainly true if Luis Severino and Dellin Betances are able to return injuries and re-injuries that have sidelined both power pitchers all season. Betances is a bullpen guy, though.
Yeah.
So it's not even that effective. Meaning, in a meaningful fashion, that would constitute a major upgrade to the staff that's wheezing its way through the summer. The failure to add arms to the race is not just an inability to land an ace to the front headless rotation. It is about a failure to provide support when it seems that as many as 6 pitchers may be necessary per game to nail down victories. It is about as much more than trying to match up in October with the Astros' big 3 of Verlander, Greinke, and Garrett Cole. It is immediately about getting through the Red Sox when they come to the stadium for 4 games this weekend. It is about navigating the final 54 games in approximately 500 innings of regular season without tumbling out of first place into dreaded wild card territory. Look, everybody they're panicking, man.
Look, it would have to take a total epic meltdown not to win a division at this point, with only 58 games left to play and an 8-game lead.
I'm almost done. It is about this group of pitchers being much, much better than the rest of the way than they have been through the Fortnite. This is what Britton, who referenced his experience with the Orioles in 2014 when Baltimore swept Detroit in the division series while facing Verlander, Max Scherzer, and David Price, said too. We need to pitch better, hit better, play better defense than we have the past few weeks. The talent to win the World Series is here. Maybe. But Wednesday's inactivity seems less a show of support and confidence in this group than a display of risk aversion from a front office with a reluctance to gamble on pitchers, and perhaps with good reason, given the volatility of the position. But still, the last couple of weeks have represented a soundless cry for help that was not answered by management. No one other than those in the inner sanctum knows exactly why, following a Cashman press conference that was obviously absent specifics, it is impossible to believe the players don't have questions of their own. Nothing changes, Aaron Boone said, looking around the locker room knowing we've got everything we need to be a championship club. That doesn't change. We know we can beat anyone. You know, nothing changes there. Nothing changed on Wednesday. That's the point. And this drives home to all of you Yankee haters out there how crushing the pressure is for anyone that wears the pinstripes. It is almost not worth it.
The lights do shine a little bit brighter when you play major league sports in New York City.
By doing nothing, they've drawn the ire of nearly every Yankee fan, and Larry Brooks and everybody's out there. Extremely disappointment, like we just lost the World Series.
Well, I mean, they still have to play the game.
Right.
But we didn't improve our chances where other teams did.
Yes.
That's just it. Because in the end, look, they're right. We don't know. But, you know.
Yeah, but if we get whoops, then people are going to.
Well, this is going to be Cashman's folly. If we go in there and Houston either, beats, even if they beat us in 7 and we don't get to the series, it's a failure.
Yeah, absolutely is a failure. No, absolutely. Especially, I still think they shouldn't have got rid of Joe Girardi, but that's a different thing. Is there any?
Isn't this already that was
third
a
year.
Long time ago?
This is the third year. There's been 2 seasons.
I think.
Second season.
This is Aaron Boone's second year.
Right.
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, guy who's never managed anything. But anyway.
Well, he's managed the Yankees now.
Right. Now he should be up to speed
He hasn't done a bad job this year.
No, this year's good, and I liked him getting in that guy's face the other day. I thought that was a good character move. Anything else, Sports Collision, that we need to throw out there?
The box.
Savages in the box.
Well, no, it's being that it's the dog days of summer, and the NFL kicks off. All camp started tomorrow, Thursday, is the first preseason game, the Hall of Fame game, and next week, the following weekend, will be everybody else starts playing the fake games.
Yeah, preseason.
Yeah, the foreplay. They don't really
I see a lot of talk about Miami Dolphins quarterbacks and how Fitzgerald and the starter isn't selected, and Fitzgerald can have his best season ever.
I think Fitzgerald's going to start, but Rosen's has to start at least 10 or 12 games. Otherwise, then what was the point of trading for him? If you're just going to have the 30, it's not Fitzgerald, it's Fitzpatrick.
Whatever.
Fitzmagic. If you're going to hand the reins over to like a 35-year-old bearded guy, then what did you bother bringing in the second-year player to see if he could play or not?
Right.
So while it makes sense, the guy who's been in the league for 15 years and is a veteran is ahead in training camp. But the bottom line is that if the Dolphins, they have to play Rosen. Otherwise, what was the point of bringing him in? So that at the end of the year, we could still be wondering if he could play or not?
Right.
And so that's it. Even if he can't play, then he could be the backup.
Anyway, all right, I'm out. What else you got? Anything? We're done.
No, that's all
Listen,
I got,
I'm heading
man.
to Seattle, man. Look at this. What time is it? It's like 12:11. It's the next day now, just like that. That's why we're reading the next stories. Hey, this was a great open phone show. We had a whole lot of fun. The WFO Radio T-shirts that everyone's got are on sale at nitrofish.com. We have posted the link in our WFO group and our WFO Radio Facebook page. Giovanni is going to put them up on the website.
I will.
And it
Tomorrow,
is going to be fantastic. And
it will be done before we next meet
together.
again. I promise you that.
Yes, which will be next week on Wednesday. Go back into the archive, learn about Greg Anderson's underpants, learn about Andrew Hines and Billy Torrance and all these great things, and share the shows. You can listen on Spotify. You can listen on Apple Podcasts. It is all great stuff. Hope you greatly enjoy them. Thank you so much for being listeners of this chaotic show, and I feel much better. Thank you so much. At the start, learning that the kid made $3 million by playing video games made me very, very, I guess I should have been happy, but I instead
No, it was
sad.
a little depressing.
Yeah, very sad, because really, real life is going away, and virtual life is taking over. And learning how to do real-life things is becoming a thing of the past, and learning virtual life things is becoming the thing of the future. And someday soon, the Chinese army is going to roll right up through Alaska and seize control of all of our video game kids, and we're not going to be able to stop them. Have a great week, everybody. WFO.
WFO, everyone. We'll see you next week.
The views and opinions of the hosts, guests, or callers do not necessarily reflect that of the station ownership, advertisers, or agency.
Yeah, welcome to the party.
I love WFO radio.
Bye, bye, bye.